Hello, greetings and salutations. Magandang hapon, magandang araw. Hello, Slash. Hi, Mikan. Hello, welcome. I am back for the new Star Rail update. Apology. I hope you guys are doing well, by the way. I'm sweltering in heat, but we good. Magandang hapon, hello. I hope you're doing fine, Mikan? Ano ba? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Yeah, started a new update. This came out yesterday. I was supposed to stream this yesterday, but updating it took so much time. It took me almost 2 hours to update it. I severely overestimated the capability of my computer. Jude, hello Jude. Magandang hapon, Jude. What was I gonna say? So yeah, I ended up getting annoyed, so we're doing this stream today instead. Hopefully it goes well. The loading time, when you transport, go to other places. Loading time when you go to other places, the loading time is very long. And also, what else am I gonna say? Oh yeah, for those who are interested or play Honkai tutorial, leaks of the animation of Finon, Saber, and Archer just came out. So there's gonna be a Fate collab with Star Rail, and they're gonna be on the next patch update, I think. And the animations look really pog. I'm not really a Fate fan. Not a Fate fan. I have not seen most of the series, but it looks cool. Very excited for Finon. I only have like I don't know 100 pulls right now, but I have very bad luck with Star Rail, so I'm just gonna save all my gems for Finon. What else happened this week? A couple of days ago, I started watching the Final Fantasy, the Final Destination movies. It was available in HBO. I'm reaching off of my brother's HBO subscription. It was pretty pog. I watched 1, 2, and 3 consecutively, and maybe I'm gonna have you watched any of the Final Destination movies? I remember watching them when I was probably small. I don't remember. I did watch them, but the only accident that stuck to me was the log accident. If you know what that is, there was a pileup on a highway, and one of the logs from the truck came loose and smashed onto the vehicle behind it. So now I'm kinda obsessed with Final Destination because I couldn't watch. Apparently, the one that's showing in theaters right now is the 6th movie. So there was. I haven't watched 4 and 5 yet, so I'm gonna look for it in the high seas. That's really all for now. What else? There's nothing else more. Life's pretty boring. Oh yeah, I got my test results from the civil service exam. I got 85. I got 85. Yo ho ho, in a bottle of rum, Mikan. I got 85. The thing is, I was so sure I was gonna fail, cause I got 70. I got 70 on the math portion of it. But the verbal part, no, reading comprehension, the English part, I got 90 plus from it, so that carried my grade. Just overall happy. Apparently I need to print the results out if I want to apply for any government job that requires civil service certification. Paladin, hello, hi, happy time zone. I hope you're doing well. That's all very cute. Is that Cinnamoroll? That's Cinnamoroll, right? Cinnasip. Okay, Emma. So yeah, we're gonna do the Star Rail thing now. And in the event that it crashes, maybe we'll do Genshin instead. Freak. In the event that my game crashes, we'll do Genshin instead. We'll do Escoffier, the latest character's story quest. Mikan, I gave up trying for civil service exam since I don't make it with the slots. Oh no, Mikan! It was an experience. they don't have online application registration, and I was assigned to a really far school for the exam, and the studying part was really stressful, so understandable. I mean, if you're not aiming for any government job, you don't need to take the civil service. Actually, you can still work for the government. Who would want that, right? But if you ever want to work for the government, you can still get a job without civil service. It's just that you cannot get into the higher positions. Okay lang yan. Okay lang yan. You can. I would have taken it as well if my mom didn't insist that I take it. I will steal money from the government. That is the most base thing to do, actually. Since they steal money from us, right? Even if you don't work, even if you don't pay taxes, you're still giving the government money with the value-added tax, etc. We will take back what is ours. Revolution. But yeah. Right, enough yapping. We're gonna do the quest, and I cannot. They're probably gonna give us a recap of what happened this time. The thing is, guys, Amphorius, the latest region thingy in Star Rail, the story is quite complicated. Is convoluted, the right word. There's so many characters with so many backstories. I feel like when I do the quest, I understand it, but when I try to recall what happened, I really cannot. I just remember how I felt when I was playing them, but I really cannot for the life of me specifically remember the nitty-gritty details of it. Yeah, this is Anaxa, and we're gonna go to the Amphorius Vortex of Genesis. Story recap, yeah, why not?
黄金への提案で歳月の試練を受けた私はオンパロスに来た時に自分が死んでいたことに気づき、奪われた未来を取り戻すため死のタイタンであるタナトスの創始。一方、シンゴの呪帝の七賢人であるアナイクスは禁止の監視から逃れるように元老院に庇護を求めた。元老院の信頼を得た後、彼は体内に宿る理性のタイタンサーシスと共に黎明の崖に登り、世を背負うタイタンケファレに謁見する。
Hello, Celphy Shore. Hi, Shore. How you doing? Cutie. Scorpy, hello. Let me shout you guys out. Please check out Shore, the cutest streamer I know. Facecam wise. Shore. If you wanna see some epic gaming, check out Shore. And Scorpy is in a break round right now for some reason. But please check out Scorpy as well. Thank you. Yeah, welcome, cutie. Wait, why is it? Huh? Because I typed Sasari. What? I'm sorry, Scorpy. Sorry. 1, 2, 1, 3. There you go. You have so many avatars. Kahit pang troll sana sila, they end up being so cute. Yeah. This is from my friend who makes 3D models, Lucille Alvar. They did a little Twitter. I'm sorry, Scorpy. They did a little Twitter raffle, and luckily I won. And this was one of the experiment models that they were making. I actually have 2 models from Lucy. The other one is the bikini one.
Oh, bitches. Devil Yaki just subscribed for 27 months.
Let's go, Yaki. Thank you for the resub. Thank you for 27 delicious months with you, my. I was gonna say my cute, yummy friend, but you know. Hi, Yaki. How are you? Hello, cute. Pag naka. I can't. What does it? It doesn't even smile, but it does this when I smile. Smile. No. But yeah. It is very cute. I love that it has such a big round head. It looks like its head is so heavy, but it's cute. Yes, we're spinning right round. Why are you not spinning? You spin. It's not spinning. Thank you for the Yeah, welcome. It worked the second time, right? Yeah, it worked the second time. You tried to stream started, but you have some tech difficulties as of the moment.
Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding. Pichana. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding.
Thank you for the Quintana. The Scorpio has technical difficulties at the moment, so he might not be streaming for a while, but he will be back very soon. Mark my words. What's happening to my game?
その頃、
Oh,
キャ
yeah,
ストリ
sorry.
ス
We
は
were doing a recap.
冥界の入り口の情報を得るべく、やむを得ず元老
Oh, yeah, we
院の
met
議題であ
Cat
る
as well. Cypher.
費
She's
用
also
を追う
one of
旅
the
の中断に
crisis
賛成
heirs.
し、
High tasty demon,
半
high
身である
tasty
サフェルの
tiger,
助けのもと、
tasty cat,
竜
tasty
害の古
kitten.
城スティコシアへと向かった。
So Cypher is
Castris
one
は
of
その
the
後
like
支
more
流ボ
aloof,
リュクス
I
の
would
連戦に
say,
成功し、
crisis heirs. She
ボリュクス
doesn't
を利用
involve
して冥
herself
界へ
much,
と
but
戻った。
she helped us a lot during the last
そこ
patch.
で死
I
の
will
タイ
just
タンである
observe
タナトス
Celphy.
に
I
会っ
have
た彼
meetings,
女
but
は
have fun. Thank you,
タイタンの
Shari.
火
Thank
種
you so
と
much for the lurk. And
私の
dropping
奪
by
われた
even
未
though
来
you're
を
at
全て
work.
返し、
Good luck
オン
with
パ
your
ロスに
meetings,
再び
good
輪
luck
廻を
with
も
the
たら
rest
し
of
た。
your work day. Thank
魂
you.
状態のアナイクスは冥界
Oh,
でキャストリスに出
yeah,
会
it
い、
was a cat girl.
創世の仮説を証明した。
Unfortunately, we
ま
do
た
not like Starlight.
冥界で重要な一票を投じ、神を冒涜した罪で元老院の野心を打ち砕き、火を追う旅の中
So
断を
many
阻止
words
した。
I don't understand.
サーシスの火種を変換した後、
When I'm playing it,
アナイクスの肉体
oh
は
my god!
完全に消失した。
That is my
これによ
exact
り
reaction when I
火を追う
saw
旅はまた一歩
Finon's
前進し、
animation leak.
ようやく終わりが見えてきた頃、
God damn.
私たち一行は
So like,
天
I'm sorry
空
for
を見上げた。
talking over the summary. Even if there's a summary, I still don't understand it. But yeah, we are in the planet called Amphorius. Amphorius is in the brink of destruction, but they have this culture of titans and gods, and the titans reincarnate. I don't even know if I'm telling the correct things, but the titans were reincarnated into crisis heirs, and the crisis heirs have to sort of quote unquote die in order to ascend into titanhood. And a few of our friends have ascended, and now I think we're close to the finale of the story. Maybe. Because the first batch was very, very long. A lot of people hated it. Apparently, it went on for 11 hours. I speed ran that thing. Second one, I kinda understood. Third one, kinda understood. This one, let's see. I have been spoiled a little. Misha! Hello, Misha! How are you? I'm curious, Misha, if you're listening, when is your school starting again? It's still summer vacation for you, right? Recap has ended. Designated location immediately. Yes, that's what I'm here for. That's why we're streaming. I got a gift sub on a random streamer that I don't even know. That happens to me too. I thought you only got random gift subs from streamers you follow. Sometimes I get gift subs from streamers I don't even follow. Like, what's up with that? Twitch? Collect your thoughts. What if I have no thoughts? At least you get free emotes, right? Free emotes. Let's go. Did you end up checking out the random streamer? 12 constellations hover above. Hover? Why is it so fast? The embody, yeah, the 12 Amphorian deities, Fate Foundation creations, and Calamity of the world. I'm guessing the constellations that are lit, they are the ones that, the core flames we have gotten, I think. Also, that's what the sticker, why do we call them stickers? Emotes are from Crane Nodders. Who is Cray? Curly. Oh, they're live, Misha. They're live. That's cool. What the hell even is it? Don't you know her? It's Krelly. I don't know her. Never heard of her. Probably. Krelly is a green-haired VTuber. Ask Grok. Ask Grok who she is. But yeah, and you have experienced 4 ascensions and 4 portings. Yeah, we have to port with them in order for them to ascend into deityhood. What a long journey it has been. What a journey it has been. You can check them out. They're live right now, Misha. You might make a new friend. Who knows? Everybody's only sleeping. Bruh. I don't think I can sleep while I have the stream on. Or maybe it's needed if you're doing like a subathon, dawn-thon thingy. Where I would be too anxious leaving my PC up in this weather. In this temperature, while I'm doing nothing. But yeah. go spam some emotes in their chat. Then let it begin. Countless words of adventure surge through your mind. You only need to grasp just one to anchor your creation. For some reason, we, the Trailblazer, has also become one of the deities or something. I don't really know. Anyways, we look only worked on Escoffier. Oh yeah, I saw that. Congratulations on your big Hertha and your Escoffier. Escoffier is really good. Is she good? Well, on her trial, she was with your good boy Femine, right? She should be really good for your account. She was really strong when I tried her. However, I only have like 50 pulls. So, I'm skipping. What happened to your mouse? My mouse. Connie! Hello, Connie. Hi. What happened to my mouse? My mouse just happened to be... You can ask my maker. You can ask my maker, Lucy or Albar, why my mouth is like this. I think it's goofy and funny. It cannot smile though. What happens when I smile? Smile! Wait, smile! It looks like it's worried. Oh, we got a text from Cypher. Get the cat girl? Cat girl is next banner. Yaki. Cat girl is next banner. She's not available yet. But I think in this patch we will get a trial of her in one of the stories. It says it's big as if you're trying to swallow me. Well, am I? What big mouth you have, Grandma. All the better to eat you with. Brain mystery. Last time in Sticia? 0 time for treasure hunting. Absolute disaster. Now the River of Souls mostly. Repeated. I'm back, baby. In the water. A big shiny chest. I can't use the miracle orb. And I can't breathe through. Your power of time is needed now. Have the power of time? Is it mem? Man, I'm stoked. My first account has Escoffier, but my friend's account that I'm currently fixing has her signature weapon. Wait, Misha, why does your friend's account have the weapon? Do they have the weapon as well? Do you also want Escoffier's weapon? It's so nice of you to be fixing your friend's account. The power of that 70-30 split 30 for you and 70 for me. You pulled for it. You're lucky. Also, the Herta is one of like the meta in Star Rail. I heard she should be. I think she's even stronger than Anaxa, right? But you can pair her with Anaxa. I was pulling for Verdict to give to his Mavowika. Oh, but you got the fork instead. Does Escoffier have a fork? Maybe she has a fork. I didn't notice. Your friend has a Mavowika. That's so cool. What good is the fork in his account though? Can any other character use it? Forget the past for now, it only brings sorrow, but sadness has no place in this moment. What you need is the drive to move forward. You decide to head to Sticia, where the River of Souls is no longer blocked, to meet up with Cat Girl. Why did they name her Cat Girl? Hopefully, those glittering, clinkering crickets will entice her. I did see that. Yes, and I was the one who pulled for his Mama Wika. You're so lucky. You're such a good friend fixing their account, and you also got them lucky pulls. So if you're like fixing their account, when are you planning to give the account back? Are you giving it back once their account is all good? You were the devil Yaki was summoned by the cat girl. Escoffier, your signature weapon looks like a fork. It's a pole arm. Crit damage, that's good for my shell. Give me the fork. He can use it anytime he wants. Ah, I see. I guess it's the same with the accounts that I find out. I am piloting a couple of accounts in Wuwa, a couple of accounts. No, actually just Wuwa. Scorpio took back his star rail. But yeah, I imagine that fork is good for my shell. Give me. He isn't using it now since he stopped playing for now, so I'm using it another one. Are you having fun? Nisha, have you done the event where you have to manage like a theme park? Did you enjoy it? I enjoyed it. He's still a new player. I see. I hope he enjoys it even if he has stopped playing currently. Oh, I did too. I played it for like 3 consecutive days. I was ignoring it at first because I was lazy, but I found out it was pretty fun. Max money is only 100M. You got to 100M. I stopped playing when I reached all the goals. I still have one more story to do though. The epilogue of the thing, you know, with the bros. More the bros again. Kinich, Ifa, Ororon, Nervelik, and Risley. They're all males. That event was all boys. Let's go. I miss casters. Now's not the time to feel down.
そうね。ヒーローを旅を続けるってキャスと約束したんだもの。今は感傷に浸ってる場合じゃないわ。ほら、下ばかり向いてないで。それより。
Finish it, you get a cutscene similar to ZZZ. Really? Wait, I think I already saw that. The one that starts with the teacup? Is that the one? I saw that. It was really cool. I love it. The animation. Yeah, the one that starts with the teacup. That was really cool. Kenich got the guy in the end. I love it. Food? Yaki, no. I must protect them from you. You're the food here. Yaki, you should have a floating version of yourself. That would be good food. Why food shape? No, you're just hungry. Mem is not food. Paimon. Paimon is food. Yaki, remember Paimon from Genshin? That is food, not Mem. Mem good. Mem kind, Mem powerful. Mem assists us in battles. Mem can look back into the past and bring us to the past. What can Paimon do? Why are we so angry at Paimon? Should I start Fontaine or do Carrie Bear? Carrie Bear. I would say Carrie Bear since you love you love lore so much. Carrie Bear has some really good lore for you to binge on. Have you already started Fontaine? They're both really good though. But Carrie Bear has some nice lore drops. It's a nice little touching story. A little sad but also good from what I remember. Yaki. Paimon food. Mem not food. Okay? Time to cry. Is it that sad? Maybe. Depends. By the way, it was Miss Cypher who asked us to come here. But where has she gone? Where is the cat girl meeting her twin again? Yeah, I think we do meet the twin again. Celphy, Connie. What's that sound? Is there someone else here? But getting amnesia later on. Who's getting amnesia? Us? The traveler? I don't know, but this aura
見に
feels
行
so
ってみましょう
familiar.
でも油断は禁物よ
I'm gonna buy Stellar Blade. Let's go! Let's go! Coney! It has so many rave reviews from what I remember. It was so controversial, but people who actually played it loved it. Wait, Stellar Blade has a Nikkei collab. That is so awesome. Can't believe Nikkei. Well, it sounds like a good collab, but I don't know. Stellar Blade is a triple A game. Is it? Right? But yeah, Nikkei and Stellar Blade, bruh. Does that mean there's gonna be a limited banner for Stellar Blade character in Nikkei? Controversial because they're just angry they don't have curves like the MZ. This is what I believe too. Like a lot of the controversies right now that are too woke. Don't quote me on this, please don't hate me. I feel like some of them stems from like insecurities or something like that. Like if they clash with what you have, what you don't have, what you believe in, and you want to impose those beliefs and insecurities on other people, that's why they become really noisy on chambers like Twitter and Reddit. That's where the controversies come from. I don't know, or maybe they're just like really too woke. Stellar Blade has too many big collabs. They're really hyping the PC release. Let's go! Hey! So Coney mentioned getting Stellar Blade. Is that because it's being brought to the PC? When is that? I hope it's not too expensive. Misha, I only returned to HSR so I can get Saber and Archer. It's sooner than we believe, Misha. It's gonna be next. I don't know if you like leaks or don't like leaks, Misha, but the leaks are there. Their animations are so cool. We get a free Archer and Saber looks really cool. But yeah, 3.4. It's very soon. Oh yeah. Sorry, Mika, you mean the Stellar Blade is gonna be very soon. I know, I saw. Tinandayo. But yeah, if you guys are playing Stellar Blade when it comes out, I hope I can watch it. I'm really interested. I don't think I've ever seen an actual stream of Stellar Blade, only like clips from Twitter. June 11. That's really close. It's almost the end of May. It's gonna be May. Waku, hello. You're doing Started as well, right? You said that 1 hour into it was mostly Catgirl. If I had the dough, I would buy Wilds. Isn't that the game that Jude is always playing? Is that it? I know he plays Monhan, but was it Wilds? Is Wilds expensive? It is a little expensive, right? Bro, I've been yapping so much. It's been 30 minutes and I've barely started the game. The story. Monhan, yes, we're both fans of the series. Let's go. Jude, bilhan mo nga ng Wilds. Bilhan mo nga ng Wilds si Mikan. If I had money, I would give you Wilds. Hey, what's that on the ground? Should we pick it up? 3.5k? I think yun na lang. Think yun na lang. Bruh, 3.5. What's that on the ground? Should we pick it up? Sige, abonohan muna. You know those couples or friends, or mostly couples I guess, you're gonna borrow money from them to give them a gift. However, on your case, Jude, I don't know if you're really gonna pay it. We can back. May 50 ako, pakiabono na lang 3,450 pesos, bro. But, question though, do Monster Hunter games ever go on sale? Oh yeah, I logged into Discord and got free 1 week Nitro. Me too. I was so surprised that I could use the animated emotes. Turns out that it's Discord's birthday anniversary and they're giving everyone 1 week of free Nitro. Make the most out of it, guys. If you can if you have like private Discord servers for your personal use, go store your big files in there. Okay, send QR. Let's go. Monhan collab. Monhan. Pog. Yes, but since Miles is pretty new, probably next year.
黒い布切れ
You can replay. What I really like about the Monster Hunter Wilds is the food. I haven't played it. I only saw people stream it. The food and the cats that Palico. Is that in Monster Hunter the cats that you can customize?
どこかで見たことあるよ
It's the same river.
どうしてこんなところに気をつけて
Man, get ready. You want the pink puppy, don't you? This is Yaki. Yaki wants the pink puppy. It's not officially a puppy.
もう傷つくわこんな時に冗談はやめてよねとにかく攻撃をかわしながら隙を探して歳月の剣能で過去へ逃げましょう
スティクスにでっかいお魚が隠れて
It's full of fish big and delicious. What?
ヒーローの旅をにゃ
What's happening to this Flame Reaver? Is that Cypher pretending to be Flame Reaver? Why is he meowing? What's happening? Isn't this meant to be a riddle? The Flame Reaver's gone mad. The end.
命が危ないって時にそんな今す
It was Cypher.
二人があまりに無防備だったからつ
Hey,
いからかいたくなっちゃっ
Maku,
て
you're still here. Switch to Japanese version. Her voice is not as annoying, maybe. No shade, no hate to the English Cypher. This voice doesn't sound annoying, so it's you, Cypher. What a terrible person. Let's leave.
待って待って私は本物正真正銘サフェルだからまあまあそう睨まないでよ
Sorry.
こんな真似をしたのもあんたたちの気を引き締めるためだったんだからさオンパロスはあちこちに危険が潜んでるしあの国威の
You're playing both good cop and bad cop. Well, ain't I grateful for the reminder? I'm so strong that I don't need your reminder. Exactly.
本
The
当
almighty
グレーの
trailblazer.
髪が逆立つくらい
The
ビビってた
galactic
よね
baseballer.
じゃあ
I wasn't
さっき
scared.
のフレイムスティーラーはサフェルの変装だったのそれとも
Thank you.
何かの仕掛け
Thank you.
本物そっくりでびっくりしたわあれが技術の半身の力なの
Mainit nga. My room. I don't really hang out in my room during the day, but when I come here to get any stuff that I need, it's hot. It's hot. My glasses, hot. Any skincare product I have, hot.
変装いやいやそんな子供騙し例えばさっき拾った布切れがフレイムスティーラーのものかもって思った瞬間何を考えた
Harmony Trailblazer given to all players, or do you have to do a certain quest? Who is Harmony Trailblazer again? Do you mean Remembrance? Do you mean Remembrance Trailblazer? Wait a minute. HMC Harmony Trailblazer. I don't remember. I'm sorry. The one from Penacony Misha, I don't remember. I think you do have to do certain quests like we did here in Remembrance. And Forest. Just keep doing. Yeah, you have to do the quests because the quests will unlock the constellations. The constellations. Harmony MC is the one with the yellow trailblazer, right? Sorry. She's the one from Penacony. I think you need to do the quest so that you can unlock coins that you give to the fountain, and the fountain will give you constellations. Is what I remember. I'm
フレ
sorry.
イムスティーラーがこの近くにいるとか。
そう、その直後に足音が聞こえた。
まずいわ。フレイムスティーラーが近づいてきてる。
Let me just Google it. Harmony Trailblazer. How to get. I mean, when I finished Harloof 6 and unlocked the Preservation Trailblazer, I also got Harmony. Maybe that's a thing when you're a returning player, they automatically give you Harmony. Maybe. I don't really remember much. But since you already have Harmony, I'm pretty sure you have to do the quests to get their Eidolons, copies of them to make them stronger, better, faster. Yeah. If I were, depends though. But it's easy to switch between paths of the Trailblazer, so you can build Harmony right now if you want your Trailblazer for break teams. Yeah, she's very good for break teams. Firefly, Rappa.
うんだろうね。私は誘導と暗示を使って現実には起きていないことを嘘。これこそザグレウスの真骨頂だよ。
嘘を真実に。びっくりしすぎて毛が逆立っちゃった。
Nice, now I know your secret.
意地悪なグレッチも嫌いじゃないよ。あの裁縫女があんたを信用してるのにはそれなりの理由があるんでしょ。
Shadow, how did you make your thingy like that?
私をはめるなんて。
Why is your chat sparkling, glowing?
話しても問
Look
題
at this
ないと
adorable
思う
little
よ。
lady. No, you. You're an adorable little lady. No, thank you though. I'm just surprised. Hello, Shadow. Thank you for the conchana, the stretch, and the hydrate. Stretch. That is the least demure stretch I've ever done. It's glowing. On my end, it's glowing. Shadow's chat box, when I see it in my OBS, the box is glowing. Is it sparkling on your guys' ends? The bits? That's really cool. That's really cool. But yeah, thank you for the hydrate and the switch. Did I hydrate? I did not hydrate yet. I don't see. I'm blind on you. Let me screenshot it. I'ma screenshot it for you, just so you see how cool it is. Can I? PC Chan, please hold on. Please hold on, PC Chan. Wait. Again. Bruh, what kind of screenshot is that? I didn't even screenshot everything. Misha as Morpheus. There you go. I'm sorry, that took multiple tries. I'm sorry. There you go. Oh, you're doing well, Shadow. Headbets for you.
それに私たちってお宝を探し求める同士でもあるでしょ。グレッチの伝言の石板が鳴ったみたい。
Fine on. The year as well. I came during lucid hour. What's lucid hour again? Anything asleep, so I did wake you up. But in current circumstances, I can't stay idle. So it's time to continue our training. Let's go to the grove, shall we? Why did we go here? Just to be tricked by the cat?
人気者なんだ。でも順番は守ってもらうからね。
Why do you need so much money?
と好奇心旺盛だね。まさかほら、私も一応は半身だし、あのくだらない予言をもらってるんだ。汝は貪欲と共に歩み、一握りの財が口火となって身を滅ぼすだろうっていう。でも私はそんなの信じてないんだよね。お宝を集めてればたった一握りの財を追うような貧乏人にはならないでしょ。それに欲望に負けて人様に迷惑をかけない限り貪欲ってことにもならないよね。この道を走り続けてる限りどんな予言も宿命も私には追いつけない。おっと、気づいたら長く喋りすぎちゃってた。ほら、スティコシアのお宝が水の底で私たちを待ってるよ。
Oh yeah, we're the
歳
authority
月
of
の神
time.
の
We're a
力を見せて
demigod
よ
as well,
グレ
I
ッチ
think. Oh, she has a mole on her upper chest. A mole. Crisis ears is said as Cathalis' divine radiance dimmed, they offered their own core flame and left behind the oracle of creation. Afterward, heroes imbued with great power began to walk the earth. They carried the vein's golden divine blood and are known as the Crisis ears. Oh, you saw it.
こちらがおっしゃってい
Shadow's
た
cat.
請求列車の車両ですか。
Yes, sparkly, shiny,
私の記憶
glowing,
にまた一
shimmering,
つ興味
splendid.
深い知識が増えました。案内していただき感
It's
謝します。
Legus.
炭鉱殿。
Done, huh?
気にしなくていい。
Oh,
それより
these Legos.
元老院の議員がこん
Look,
な
he
場
looks
所まで
so
赴
cool.
き
His design is
自ら
pretty
列車の
cool.
調査をしてくれ
Pretty
ると
rad,
は。
I must say. I was busy playing dress up in my room. What do you mean you're playing dress up? You're trying on different outfits? Oh, you're going to... Biglang tumaas yung pitch. You're going to a wedding? That's so cute. Do you have a suit? Do you have a suit? Are you gonna wear suit and tie? Do you have shiny, formal shoes? I'm so excited for you. Is this your first wedding? Yup, my second cousin's wedding. Yo, is it in the same area where you live, or are you gonna have to travel for the wedding? You know, some people like destination weddings. I'm so excited for you, Misha. Why am I so excited? Because you get to eat lots of food. And they're gonna see how cute you are. Don't worry, you can just wear casual formal. Oh, I see. So like, you're not wearing like jeans, but you can wear sneakers, I guess. Mikan, when I attended my brother's wedding, I was only excited for the dinner. Same. That's why I'm excited to go to events. Although I hate socializing, the star of the show is actually the food, the buffet, and the cake. Cake. Afterwards, I wanna leave. I'm not here for the ceremony. I'm not here to celebrate your love. I'm just here for the food. I wish I can wear a tux though. Yeah, that you would look so dapper, Misha. I can imagine it. Oh wait, Mikan, you said brother's wedding. You have a brother who is married. You have a married brother. Does that mean you have nieces and nephews? Or nephews as well? Tito? Sorry.
我々奥平魔人は知識欲が旺盛なのです。もし皆がお二人の来歴を知っていたら、今頃ここは開拓に興味を持つもので溢れていたでしょう。ただ残念ながら、ところでお二人が奥平魔にいらしてからもう随分と経っているようですね。
Knowing about the world outside the planet is taboo. We got into trouble for mentioning March before. And the citizens ended up worshipping March because they thought she was like some goddess from the sky. Yes, Tito Nami, I have an 11-year-old niece. That's fine though. 11 years old. Is that still Gen Z or is that now Gen Alpha? Do I have nieces? Yeah, I have many. What do you call this? Nieces and nephews that I have not met yet, because I have such a big family on my mom and dad's side. It's crazy. But kids can be fun to have around. She kept bugging me for Haikyuu merch. 11 pa lang anime fan na. Well, that makes sense. When I was 10, I think I started in fangirling into many things. Books, anime. Yeah. Wait, do you have Haikyuu merch? Or is she asking you to buy her Haikyuu merch? Anya? Sabi mo sa kanya, ako hindi makabili ng Haikyuu merch eh. But maybe she saw your room and saw your Hinatsu merch and thought like, anything Haikyuu. Tell her you don't have money. I'm sorry, my niece, but I'm saving my money for Monster Hunter Wilds. Can I be called an uncle because my cousin or second cousin already has kids? Once they start talking, Misha, they're gonna have to call you uncle. So yeah, Tito, uncle or Tito. I did bought her a small plushie from Cosplay Mastery. That's good enough. It's the thought that counts, and I know it would have been very cute because he chose that plushie for her cosplay matsuri. O nga pala nagka-cosplay ka, no?
ああ、その通りだ。手がかりを集めては様々な
あまりご自分を責めないでください。このことはオンパロスの学者たちが長らく頭を抱えてきた難題でもあるので、あなた方が並ならぬ才能の持ち主であろうと一朝一夕で答えを得るのは難しいでしょう。
受定に行った際、天空のタイタンに関する多くの研究資料を見つけたが、オンパロスの学者の大半は天外の世界に関する禁忌をエーグルが下した呪いによるものだと考えているそうだ。
Sky Titan. I'm addicted to From the Start by... I forgot how that's pronounced. Yuffie mentions that artist a lot. From the Start, Lo-fi?
その通りです。オンパロスの12柱のタイタンのうち、エーグルは最も感情の起伏が
the
激しい
Good
人柱で
Kids
すからね。
covered From the Start by Lo-fi. You like the cover. I see. Capricious? What does capricious mean? Leve?
あの神の軌道は
Damn.
天候となってこの世に現れます。
You hear it a lot.
穏やかな
It's
時は晴れ、
good. You hear it a lot where?
悲しい
On the
時は雨
radio,
が降
on
り、
Spotify.
その息吹は冷たいそよ風を生み、叫びは驚くほど大きな稲妻。
それから火種を返していない2柱のうちの1柱。
ええ、頭上の空は全市民と深く関わっています。エーグルの討伐を最後にしたのも、
もしエーグルの火種を返すことで空の呪いが消えるのなら、俺たちも帰る
Can I
方法
play
では
it?
なく、
Yeah, we can play it.
黄
Just
金へ
one
の協
song.
力に
One
専念で
song
きるんだ
while
な。
we do this
アンティ
story.
キシラチンはすでに帰る故郷を失っているので、
Sorry,
あなた
please
が
send
古
the
き友や
YouTube link.
故郷を思う気持
Send
ちは
the
理解できます。
YouTube link.
私は先ほどアンティキシラの技術でこの車両を識別、いえ、スキャンしました。
本当か？
もちろん炭鉱殿の許しを得られれ
If you
ば。
like it, it's your verdict. I usually like the songs that you sing. So let's see.
分かった。よろしく頼む。ただ、列車の推進機はとても繊細な装置なんだ。
信用していただきありがとうございます。
Vegas carefully scans the damaged propulsion system, then methodically began inspecting its components.
驚いたな。
Yeah, did
随分
not
詳しいようだ
wait.
が、
Last
似たよう
update,
なものを修理した
Herta
ことがあるのか。
came to Amphorius, right? And this guy greeted her. Where is she?
いいえ、アンティキシラチンが特別機械に敏感なだけですよ。ケファレが我々を創造
The
した際、
void.
解析や学習に秀でた際なので、もう少しお時間をいただければこの破損した車両を完璧に修復できると思います。安心してください。あな
I'm so
列
confused
車が
with
治ったとしても、
our
エーグルの方の問題はどうなるんだ？
Did the express crash into Aquarius? Did it at the beginning? Bro. Correction. She forced herself. Yeah, she did force herself. Wait, you're updated. You're updated, Misha. What is the real issue with Akira?
炭鉱殿、もし私が
Yeah, she
エ
did
ーグルの
force
神
it.
罰を回避
She
で
was
き
like,
る
what
上
you
に
doing here? What you doing
オ
here,
ンパ
girl?
ロスを
And
離
I
れ
was
る手
like, I
段
have
がある
to
と
be
言ったら
here. It is my will, it is my right. And because I can. Because I can. Where is my opera? Thank you for the link. Thank you, opera. I know this. I know this song. The original one.
火を追う旅への協力を中止していただけますか？
それはどう
Because
いう意味だ？
Yuffie sings this a lot,
元
right?
老院側に
But this
神
is
罰
like
を
a
無
really
効に
cool.
する手段
This
が
is
あ
a
ると。
cool cover.
細かい詮索はやめましょう。私にはそれができる。これだけ。
つまり元老院の意向とは別に
大事なのはあなたとご友人が
Yeah, she
黄
sings
金
this
へ
a
の協
lot.
力をやめない限り一部の人間の利益が損なわれてしまうかもしれないということです。
What is your game here, like? Why do you want us to stop supporting the crisis heirs? Aren't you supposed to be neutral? Aren't you supposed to be neutral?
今から話すことで気を悪くしたらすまないが、黎明の崖を訪れた際、元老院議員に関する資料を
He's
複数読ませてもらった。
He's into, not into his pro council elders.
そのうちあなたの経歴だけがほぼ空白だった。善意はとてもありがたいが、過去と動機が不透明な。
さすがは炭鉱殿。
I didn't notice the detail on his chest. That was so cool.
こいつら
Are these people?
罠か。これが俺についてきた理由か。
どうか誤解しないでください。私は心霊の慣習として中立の立場です。彼らの計画に加担するつもりもなければ
Nice.
止める
That
義
was
務
a
もありま
really
せん。
nice song, Misha. I loved it. Good Kid. Good Kid is the name of the artist. It's a cover of Levi's. Levi's. Levi's from the start. I love it. Thank you, Misha. Oh boy, Starro dropped that I won't use. Oh boy. Oh yeah, you don't play Starro. That's fine. That's fine, Mika. Just dismiss the message. That's what I do when I watch a stream and there's drops for a game I don't play. Ignore, dismiss. Please don't misunderstand Lord Donmon. As the Theo rules, I have no allegiance to their plans, nor am I obliged to obstruct them. I am neutral. If you are neutral, then why are you blocking my assistance, our assistance to the crisis heirs? Explain yourself.
ただあなたのことは個人的に尊敬しているので、あなたとご友人の身を
So
守
at
れ
this
る
point, I think he's
平和
offering
的
to
な提案を
repair
しに来た
our
のです。
ship in exchange for us stopping, helping Aglaea and the gang. We're kind of
1
cornered
対
right
4
now.
か。一応確認しておくが、これからもし
いいえ、先ほどですがそう質問したということは私の提案を断って黄金栄の
一つだけ認めよう、ライコス。何があっても俺たちは列車の仲間たちだが、その仲間という二文字に今は日和の黄金栄たちも入っている。
Exactly.
七死人として 仲間の運命をただ傍観することはない
Our
し
trailblazer
する
is
気もない
also a demigod now, so he has to help us.
なるほど。それがあなた。
ちなみに俺が手を出すのかと聞いたり火星が必要なのは彼らの方だからだ。
I think next update the buffing of old characters are gonna take effect, specifically for Jingliu, Blade, Kafka, and Silver. Gonna get buffed. Like I'm gonna become stronger. Because you know power creep is really big here in Star Rail, so I think they're getting a boost so that they can still be viable in newer enemies and content. Finon? Did Finon step in?
何も強い力を持っていながら
Oh no, this is another scene.
答えろ。なぜ僕らの邪魔をする。
いけない。これ以上はもう無理よ。
I thought it spelled Paimon, yeah. I was kinda annoyed with Finon's name before because it reminds me so much of Paimon. But after playing for a few patches, I've learned to distinguish them, Finon and Paimon. Paimon is emergency food. Paimon has no powers. Finon, very strong and courageous, and one of the strongest demigods in Star Rail.
早くファイノンを戻しましょう。大丈夫？
ああ、大丈夫だ。あの一撃、ようやく受け止められるようになった。
I was keeping me on the edge. If I had passed out, that would have been it. Yeah, we almost died
だか
last
ら道
patch
中に
as
しっかり
well.
食べて
The caster is
しっかり寝るよう言っておいたんだ。協力してくれてありがとう。エーグルや潜在的な脅威と戦うために。
それにしてもよくこんな鍛え方を思いついたわね。歳月の大河で過去の幻影と戦う。
何にせよ効果があったのは明白だろ。ただ戦闘には力や技術だけでなく使い慣れた武器も必要だ。向こうと比べてこっちは
Why not get Chartonus? Who's Chartonus again?
ハートヌスという
welcome
オン
back,
パロス一の
Misha.
鍛冶師がいてくれて本当によかった。
What happened? What happened? You played your song and Don Juan's about to fight because Ligus cornered him with his lackeys, and now we're on another scene where I think we're training with Finon for the big fight against Aquila, that's the Sky Titan.
条件を提示して使いやすい武器を作ってくれと言ったらそのために他の依頼
Or
を全
maybe
て
the
断
Flame
ったそうだ。
Reaver first. The Flame Reaver first.
申し
I
訳ない
think
ことを
the
してしま
Sky
ったな。
Titan is like the final boss or something.
ハートヌスも火を追う旅の一員だからやる気満々や。
最近の彼を思い返してみたが
ファイノン、反対にあなたのことで少しここ最近ますますあの国威の剣士に。
へえこれは
だってずっと気になってたんだもの。ファイノンはどんどん。
安心してくれ。僕は復讐のために剣を振ってるわけじゃない。相棒もニカドリーの試練を経験したからわかると思うけど
Those who can walk out of the
過去の
shadows of
影
their
に囚われた
past
ま
are
までは
ultimately weak.
決して強くは
True,
なれ
don't
ない
let your past hold you
昔と
back.
違って今の僕はこの上なく大事でとても脆いものを背負ってる。だから
You've really grown, but you can't beat them yet. We'll be here by your side.
そうだね相棒。
Paimon. Paimon.
今の僕じゃまだ叶わないから君たちの力を貸してほしい。おかしいな。どうして僕が喋ると話が重くなるんだ。そうだ今日はもう出し切ったし気分転換に友愛の館に行って面
Did
白
you
い読
like
み
the
物でも
music?
探してみない
Yes, I
か。
loved it. I loved it. I recognized it instantly when the singer began singing. I recognized the original song because he sings it a lot during her karaoke streams. The original one has its own charm. The cover that you shared is really cool as well. It's like easier to bop with and sing. I quite liked it. Thank you, Misha, for the recommendation. You wasn't here? I'm sorry. You can play it again. You can play it again. Where's my history? History? History, Doko. Good kid from the start. Good kid, that's you. Good kid, Misha. Just for that while we continue the story.
ちゃんとご褒美を堪能しなきゃ。今日こそは。いい考えね。でも。
友愛の館のいいところは、いわゆる学術書に興味がない僕たちでも。
Dawn of the Living Dead. There's a movie, right? Shaun of the Living Dead, or something like that. I thought I saw what do you call it? A bug here. There was a bug here, right? It's gone. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead. I think that's like a classic movie. Not really classic, like really old, but one, you know, cult favorite or something like that. Shaun of the Dead. From the start, I love this model, so cute. Alex, hello, hi, happy time zone. Your week's been fine. Oh yeah, wait, what day is it? Oh, it's only Thursday, right? Sorry. British zombie movie is British, not scary at all. Shaun of the Dead. Oh, treasure. Shaun of the Dead. Wait, why can I not get it? Oh, there you go. Yes, they are British. Are there any good British horror movies? Most of the horror movies I've seen are like mostly like Hollywood, American. Some of them are like European, other European ones. Hot Fuzz? I watched Hot Fuzz. I loved Hot Fuzz. Now I wanna watch Shaun of the Dead. I just know it by the title. I don't even know what Shaun looks like. Go to the mission target. A view from the... Oh. It's not that yet. Brownie Star. Putting milk in tea is a horror for them already. Wait, really? Tell me a British horror story. Putting milk in tea. I think they also hate it when you microwave tea. They absolutely detest microwaving tea. I'm so amazed that Anaxa hates his own name. Yeah, he's gonna punish you for calling him Anaxa. It must be Professor Anaxagoras. Wait, why did the next song autoplay? Did the next song autoplay? No. We're good. Back to the story. Anaxagoras, my Deimos, Tribius. I don't know what Aglaea's full name is. Does Aglaea have a longer name? Wait, how do I get there? What are we doing here? I don't belong here. Shaun of the Dead. I can't get it out of my mind. Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead. Oh. Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg. Hot Fuzz was so funny because the character Simon Pegg was so serious there. Hot Fuzz, The World's End. Paul, I think Paul is on Netflix right now. I think I started watching it, but I forgot to continue it. I remember liking the premise of it. Alien, Shaun the Sheep. Shaun the Sheep. A absolute throwback. Oh, you've seen it as well, Misha. I did like Hot Fuzz. I think I started watching Paul. I've heard of Shaun of the Dead, but I didn't know it was the Hot Fuzz guys as well. It's really cool. So I guess they're like an iconic British comedy duo. Oh, the throwback is Shaun the Sheep. Shaun the Sheep. I'm quite relieved that Tonmon isn't around. No one will be there to judge your reading pace. What are we reading right now? I woke up at 5 to watch it. 5 a.m? They show Shaun the Sheep at 5 a.m? The scroll at hand shows a line of small text. Non-standard reading material. Please return to its original place after borrowing. Do not let any Grove professor discover it with 10 exclamation marks. Or was it 6? I remember waking up that time during high school, maybe. I forgot. Like the British for Mr. Bean. Exactly. I love Mr. Bean. I love it. It's so funny even though he's not talking. Hog. Yeah. Wait, is that POG or Hog? Forbidden Love. I think one of these is like a fanfic regarding Anaxa. My professor can't possibly be this shy. Sorry, I'm late. I used the power of a cognose bloom to climb over the vines, rushing to the classroom and nervously pulling open the door, only to make eye contact with the person I had an appointment with. The professor, barely over 30, was leaning casually against the stone lectern, loose and relaxed. The scholar's robe gleamed bright in the dim light of the evernight, giving off an almost divine aura. The first class, and already late. Looks like someone is eager to meet Thanatos. Wait, I'll just skip ahead to the implied spicy part. Where is it? Here. Professor, let me understand your thoughts, your research, your everything. No further words were needed. Two seekers of knowledge, driven by instinct, began their deep exploration of ideas. At that moment, we had yet to realize that after this lesson, another name would appear in the acknowledgements. Why would another name appear in the acknowledgements? And in the end, this would be the spark that led to the founding of our academic simple. Yeah, they had a deep exploration of ideas. Don't forget deep. Rowan Atkinson is just that talent. You kind of forget that he's a graduate of electrical engineering. Yo. Yeah, I did hear that he was very smart. A lot of the comedians are actually genius level smart. They'd have to be that funny to come up with jokes. And like the way they act, the way they pretend to be like really into their character. I don't know, I just watch a lot of stand-up comedians and I think they're really smart. And Rowan Atkinson is like a classic shining example of a great, an awesome, iconic comedian who doesn't need words to make the whole world laugh. Do we wanna? Can we reread the rest? I don't wanna read them. Hey, are you a character from Azumanga Daioh? First 5 years. Thank you for the first time chat. Hey, well, I know about Azumanga Daioh, but I am not from Azumanga Daioh. By the way, you seem Indian. I seem Indian. This is the first time I've heard that. But actually, a couple of streams ago, someone came in and asked if there are Indians in chat. I'm not Indian. I'm sorry. 5 years. I am from the Philippines. I'm Indian. That's interesting. Is that a compliment? I think that's a compliment. But hibo, I'm not from Azumanga Daioh. I'm not Indian. I'm from the Philippines. But anyway, welcome. First 5 years. I finished a romance manhwa not too long ago. I was happy and sad. Was it like finished? Was the manga series over? Happy of the ending but sad that it's finished. I get that a lot with the Netflix shows that I I binge. Mexico land. Yeah, we are the Mexico of Southeast Asia. Oh, I mean, makes sense. I seen some clips of Philippine City and it looks similar to India. So I guess we are the same. I guess, yeah. Plus, you guys do have some good food, lumpia. Thank you. Can am I wrong to assume that you're Indian as well? And as an Indian person, you think that our food is bussin' like lumpia? Yo, that's so flattering. I didn't invent lumpia, but I'm very proud of our food. Have you tried Indian food? Yeah, 5 years. I love Indian food. Last week I had Indian food. I forgot what it's called, but one of them is chicken biryani. Is tikka Indian food? Yeah, it was chicken biryani, tikka, and a couple of other dishes. I forgot what it's called. It was very creamy, very saucy, very cheesy. Celphy, maybe you like it. It's a slice of life modern manhwa in its growth setting. What is the title? Can you DM me the title, Misha? Biryani tikka is also Indian. Yeah, fish tikka and chicken biryani. That's what I ate last week. It was delicious. I invented lumpia. Yeah, check out the Wikipedia of lumpia. You will see that the inventor is me. I took it from Chinese culture and Filipino culture. Perfectly marry those food cultures and you get awesome, delicious lumpia. I also thought of the sauce myself. It's not regular ketchup will not do. You need to have a sweet and tangy and a little spicy blend for the lumpia sauce to make it perfect. Do you have naan bread? Naan bread? No, I have tried naan bread before, but that order last week did not have bread. I wish I had bread though. Naan is so delicious. The name is Drawing Romance. Bad romance with chili. Yes, delicious. By the way, I also wanted to ask the Philippines, right? Yes. Since you're close to Japan, won't tickets be cheap? It can be cheap. It can be cheap if you wait for airplane ticket sales. Yeah, it can be cheap. The cheapest Japan ticket that I've encountered before was 7,500 pesos. 75 PHP 2 USD. For only $134 you can go to Japan from the Philippines. So yeah. Regularly it's expensive because even though Japan is closed, that's still Japan. I believe. But yeah, if we are patient enough to check out sales, it can go for as low as $135 US dollars. 1010 would give Celphy headbats based on this model. Thank you. I appreciate the thought of headbats, Alex. It's cheap but hard to enter. I think the visa is the harder part of it because we don't have like a really close alliance with Japan. So we still need to apply for a visa, and the difficult part about that is you need to have lots of money on your bank account to get a Japanese visa. Yeah. I mean, I would love to go to Japan, especially have you played the series of Yakuza? I want to visit the town that inspired the game. Yo! Perfect 5 years. I've been playing Yakuza recently. Yakuza 0 specifically. I believe the one with Kiryu is inspired by Tokyo, the red light district of Tokyo. And the other one is inspired by Osaka, I believe. Need like a minimum of 100,000 pesos in your bank. Yeah, that's what I heard. What's 100,000 in USD? 10000 PHP 2 USD. So you'd need around more or less 2,000 US dollars in your bank account in order to get approved for a Japanese visa if you're coming from the Philippines. It's a different story though if you have like Japanese what do you call this, relatives. It's probably easier. You don't need that much money in your bank account. They just want to make sure that you're not gonna, you're gonna be able to sustain yourself in there. You're not gonna cause trouble when you go to Japan. My friend and her boy, wait, Misha, My online friend is in Japan right now. I think you did mention that. I think I remember you mentioning that one of your best friends is in Japan. Mikan, my friend and her boyfriend pretended to be fiancés so they can share their bank accounts. That's pretty wise. I've never heard of that strategy. Fiancé, you don't need proof of fiancéship, right? So they believed it. That's really cool. 5 years. Yakuza is my favorite series. You see, it helped me when I failed the grade, and that game helped me cope through such a tough time. I'm glad that a game like Yakuza, a beloved game, a really great game like Yakuza, help you cope with your with the stress you had with your studies. Yeah, Yakuza is great. I've already played 0. I'm not even halfway through 0, but I understand how and why people enjoy and love it. Just be careful if you're going to Kabukicho. Lot of scammers that target foreigners. Yeah, you should be careful. Wait, there's scammers in Kabukicho? I didn't know that. But yeah, be careful. Generally, wherever you go, that's like a place that's not familiar to you, always be careful and always research before going to foreign places, because as much as we love Japan, there are still bad people in there. As much as they have like really low crime rate, crime is still possible. It won't hurt to be extra cautious. Japan is nice but overly overrated. I'd rather go to Germany. That's a different ball game. Germany is a different. I would still want to go to Japan, but yeah, Germany is a different. I mean, it's different in a way that you want to go to Germany to experience different stuff. Japan for different stuff. I think they're both amazing. Overrated maybe because as a weeaboo, as an otaku, it can be overrated because you're gonna be, whoa, like this is the land of anime. I've seen so many things about Japan and now I'm experiencing it. So I guess that's where the overrating comes from. I am aware, but I would love to go see every monument. Kabukicho is based on Kamurocho. Kamurocho is an area in Yakuza, and I would love to visit the place without using a map. I played the game for so long. I don't think it's gonna be a 1:1 area. 5 years. I recommend you still use a map. Have an app on your phone that works as a map, or else you're gonna get lost. And Japanese, not Japanese.
First 5
people.
years just followed.
Thank you so much, 5 years for the follow. Arigato. Thank you. What was I saying? Yeah, I was talking about maps. Tokyo. I've been to Tokyo. It's a very confusing place. You need a map. Their subway system is extremely complicated. You need a map. You can't go there by heart. You can't just listen to your heart and find your way through Tokyo. I got family members in Germany. Yeah, you mentioned your uncle. Yeah, I mean your relative. Your female relative is getting married to a German person, right? A Canadian VTuber that I am so friends with lives in Japan and told me that Japan sucks when you're in major cities. It's harder to get jobs. Bro, their work culture is crazy. That's one thing I would not want to live in Japan because their world culture is crazy. Work culture. They work overtime, and you have to drink with your office mates to get along with them, or else you're gonna get ostracized. That's what I saw. That's what I heard. My aunt said it's region in Netherlands. Yo, Europe. I wanna go on a Europe trip before I die. There's this thing called Schengen visa, right? Where you get one visa that enables you to travel in many countries in Europe. I would want that. And you can travel to some countries via train. Imagine the sightseeing. Maps. Maroon 5. No, maps is in literal maps. Crazy work culture. Oh, it's not official yet, but they're someday getting married. I see, Misha. Crazy work culture. She got scolded for getting sick. Ano ba yan? Kakomputer mo yan. Tsaka, how dare you get sick and now you can't work? Who's gonna do your work, huh? Do you think we are gonna do your work? No, you work while you're sick. We have so many vitamins and minerals here in Japan. The technology. You're not supposed to get sick. Rash is doing better now and found another job he likes. Yeah. A lot of influencers though, right? Like C-Dog is in Japan. I think I've discussed it before with a friend why some English-speaking influencers are moving to Japan. They're probably having an easier time because they don't have to do... No disrespect to the work they do, but they work hard, but they don't have to confine themselves to the Japanese 9-to-5 work culture. The anime men. So all of them are in Japan? All of the trash taste bros are in Japan? I love Europe as well. And they have the best chocolate, the best food, Italian food, all the pasta and pizza. For some reason though, I'm not very excited to go to France or Paris. But yeah, 5 years if you're still here. I strongly support you go to Japan, Tokyo, and the area where that inspired Yakuza, but you still need to have a lot of information on hand when you go there. It's a confusing place, I believe. They posted themselves recreating the manga covers of anime. Oh, because they're in Japan, so they can recreate the manga covers. That's really cool. Oh, we obtained them as readables. We can read them at our own time. Where's the mission target? Where is... Like Danda and Kimi no Nawa. The Kimi no Nawa is on a staircase, right? Like it's based on a real staircase in Japan. I'm planning to make Napolitan pasta tomorrow. Megan! Nakakatakam naman ba yung picture? When you make it, if you make it, please. Please. Yeah, it's really cool. One of the things you can do in Japan is recreate anime and manga covers, because a lot of manga and anime are based on real places. Wait, why was I in the yeah, I wanted to check where the thingies are. You're still at work? Why are you still at work? Are you doing overtime? Aren't you supposed to be off work right now? Yaki. Get home and shower, for I am about to put you in the air fryer. Skip work here. Go home. No work. Who needs work? Actually, only. Heck work. I started an hour late today. Ah, I see. So you have to finish the whole shift because you started 1 hour late. I see. Does that mean you're getting off in 5 minutes? I thought I felt the draft just now. Peeking isn't polite, my friend. Somehow that smile seems scary. Just curious, what are you reading? Are you reading something you shouldn't be reading? Oh, in 30 minutes. 30 minutes, that's gonna go by really fast. Go home. Go home so I can eat you.
骨董品鑑定富を築く方法
You know you're into this. I know how in your dreams. Maybe it's time to find a different side gig. Do we believe the get rich book or do we become cynical about it?
相変わらず尖った発言だね反応に困るよ
Only allowed to nibble, no eat.
アグライアが優秀な指導者になれたことについては僕なりの考えがある人格や品行といった要素はもちろんだけど彼女にはもう一つ比類なき財力があった
Totally not me. Work is awful and all you need funds to buy your Zanny body pillow. Exactly. Zanny body pillow. Yo, that's a great idea. I would want a Zanny body pillow. Bro, is Zanny's banner ending? Yeah, I think their WoW is promoting Chacona now. So yeah, Zanny's about to end. For WoW players who have not acquired a Zanny yet, I implore you, you only have a few days left to get a Zanny.
これが豊かな都市国家で生まれた利点だとして、貧しい田舎生まれの僕がその穴を埋めるには3割の努力と7割の運が。
OU_VT just traded with 9 viewers.
Kayo, thank you for the raid. Welcome, welcome. Bro, I forgot to launch my Mix It Up, so let me just shout you out manually. Kayo and raiders, welcome, welcome. It's a Kayo with Akane. Hello, hi Akane. Happy time zone, guys. Magandang araw. Yes, welcome. Hi, I'm Celphy. Thank you so much, Kayo, for the raid, and welcome everyone. What was I gonna say? I'm Celphy. I'm doing Star Rail's latest update right now. We're doing the main story quest, and what else? Kayo and raiders, if you guys wanna go rest, please feel free to do so. I strongly advise for you guys to rest. If you guys want to lurk or stay, that's totally cool as well. I would appreciate that. Okay guys, please do check out Kaya. Kaya's a good friend of mine, an old time friend of mine, and I love him so much. Hello beautiful Celphy. Hello beautiful Akane. But yeah, please feel free to lurk and stay if you want. But if you have to rest and go, that is totally fine. Willie Mills, sorry for reading your message. Say Hakuna Matata. I forgot that I have Disney Plus. I can watch Hakuna Matata. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the chaos. Yeah. Totally chaotic. I'm just kidding. It's a raid. It was a raid. Sorry, Sophie. I have to sleep. I have to work in the morning. Have a beautiful rest of stream. No worries. No need to say sorry, Koyo. I always appreciate you, and I love having you here. Thank you for bringing your community to me. I love you. Take care. Yo. We've been following for 2 months, 12 days, 21 hours. Thank you really enough. Yeah, take care guys. Go hydrate, go rest. We're just doing some Star Rail story. Honestly, I also followed you because though I don't have interest in Honkai, I find you entertaining. Making me blush. I'm just yapping. Also, your name's Celphy, but pronounced Sophie. Nah. Did I say Sophie? Selfie like take a selfie? You take a selfie with your phone. That's how you pronounce my name. Selfie. I don't know if you like Final Fantasy 5 years. I took my name from a character in Final Fantasy 8. Selfie with Selfie. Exactly. Selfie. Appreciate the compliment. Arigato. Now I'm conscious. I'm just an awkward yapper. One of us.
つい喋りすぎてしまったね。とに
Then
か
I'm
く
gonna shut up.
指導者に必要なのは
I
品
just
格
got
と
told
財
I was underneath.
じゃなくて
Now I'm gonna shut
才
up.
能なんだ。
So we need to focus on the story. Once again, Koyo readers, thank you again for being here. Please do rest and take care of yourself. Koyo, if you're still here, good night. Sleep well, and I hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow. Not too stressful, hopefully. Tomorrow's Friday. Shark Bane. Ooh, ha. What's Shark Bane? What is that? Oh, by the way, fans of Gargoyle, I heard a little rumor that she's coming back as fish. Sharkbait is from Finding Nemo. I watched Finding Nemo, but I don't remember the characters. What are we supposed to do here, ma'am?
栽培の月、陰徳の時、稲と小麦を食べ、今のホンパロスに釣りができそうな場所なんてある
Gargoyle
かな
as Sabasagi. So yeah, I was taken aback when I first saw the name Saba. Saba, because in here Saba is a variety of banana. Saba, and usually Saba banana is used for cooking banana. Answer my question from above. Thank you for reminding me. 5 years. A good question. So wait, 5 years. Do you do Final Fantasy?
Namer Mocha just followed.
Mocha, hey Kitty, thank you so much for the follow. I saw you were streaming as well. I hope if you're gonna go rest, I hope you have good rest. The anime, what anime you feel is a guilty pleasure? A guilty pleasure anime. I know a little characters like Cloud and Tifa. Oh yeah, Cloud and Tifa are from Final Fantasy VII. They're really popular because they're, apart from their original FF7, they have so many remakes and spin-offs, right? Can you repeat ad game? I'm sorry. What was I gonna say? Guilty pleasure anime. Imagine making a new Twitter account named Saba Tweets You and immediately get 100k characters. Bro, that is the Gargura effect. And she wasn't exactly subtle with the hints. Her old account Senzawa also changed their Twitter profile mentioning Saba. What was it? 5 years? Wait, I'm just looking at my anime list. A guilty pleasure anime. What is a guilty pleasure anime for me? Your guilty pleasure anime Mikan is Sao. Sword Art Online. That's valid. One of the popular classics. For me, Sword Art Online is, yeah, it can be a guilty pleasure. But it's also a good entry for people who've never watched anime before. You hated it at first. Akanehibo. 5 years, my guilty pleasure anime is Brand New Animal. How come I've never heard of that? Speaking of animal, I would say Beastars is a guilty pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure because it's a little bit sussy, but I can't stop watching it. Beastars. In fact, I think I wanna rewatch Beastars. It's one of my guilty pleasure animes. Wait, Brand New Animal? Brand New Animal. I think I've seen this before. BNA. It was also on Netflix, right? Shokugeki no Soma. That's also a guilty pleasure and it makes you hungry too. Thank you for the recommendation, Misha. I love Shokugeki no Soma. Also, Mikan, I believe you've watched Shokugeki, right? There's an episode where one of them made mapo tofu. Grabe oy. Akane, thank you so much for the lurk. Kitty, thank you for being here and thank you for coming along to Kayo's raid. Arigato. I finished the whole episodes and seasons. Yeah, BNA, I think I watched a little of this on Netflix as well. It was interesting. Mapo tofu, yeah. One of the episodes, one of the kind of characters we meet is a Chinese chef student, and their whole thing was Sichuan cuisine, and they told us about the art of spicy Chinese cuisine. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. Listen to the opening of BNA and you will understand why I love it. Yeah, Food War Shokugeki. Oh, let me guess, you watch it for the food. Misha watches it for everything. Misha has a tendency to appreciate everything, from the story to the visuals to the food to the music. Wait, let's go to YouTube and listen to the VNA opening, right? Opening. Brand New Animal. Brand New Animal OP. That, and I love the story. I watch it for the Mika, you watched it for the treaties and you stayed for the food. I remember even like reading the manga. The manga is in black and white, but the food was still so appetizing. Bruh, Japan, how could you do this? How could you make me salivate for a black and white drawing? This is the BNA opening. Fried chicken episode. Fried chicken. Fried chicken! The story is amazing in my standards. Of Shokugeki, yeah, it has a pretty interesting story as well. It's not just food. The dad thingy, Shiro Ogami. Is that what's Shiro Ogami? Is that a character from BNA? It's been ages since I last saw food for same. I think it's on Netflix though. If you have Netflix, I think it's on Netflix. I'm really. Wait. Do you guys have Crunchyroll? What's that thing? No, I don't want to play that. That is a really good OP. 5 years. DNA. OP. Soma went back to his family restaurant and heard their shopping alley is getting less traffic because of the new mall beside the train. I remember that now. Yeah. They made really good fried chicken for the shopping alley. I love that part. I love most of the food in Shokugeki no Soma. I'm not even a fan of French food, but they make it look so good. It's really catchy, but people might think I am for it if I watch it. No worries, 5 years. We all appreciate a good anime, whether it's furry or not. And liking BNA, or for my case, B-stars, doesn't mean you're already a furry. Soma and the Bento Dude collabed. What's Bento Dude? Is that a YouTube chef? A cooking YouTube channel? The Bento Dude? Sounds like it.
ニュリオンの様子がおかしい。一体どんな本を？
The Bento Dude. What am I having for dinner? Oh yeah, I asked my mom to fry some bacon for dinner. She's gonna fry the bacon.
アガイラが優秀な指導者になれたことについては、僕なりの考えがある。人格や品行といった要素はもちろんだけど、彼女にはもう一つ比類なき財
The
力があった。
Bento Dude and the Wagyu Woman.
これが豊かな都市国家で生まれた利点だとして、貧しい田舎生まれの僕がその穴を埋めるには3割の努力と7割の運が。
There's also this guy. He's not a VTuber, but he makes dishes based off
とにかく
VTubers.
指導者に必要なのは品格と財
Niku.
じゃなくて
Oh, Wagyu
才能なんだ。
Woman. Wagyu Woman is the one with the Niku on her name. Sexy lady with dark skin. Sexy lady with really super short shorts. And she always says some sussy stuff. Bento Dude is a character in Food Wars. He sells bento boxes and is a friend to Soma. Oh no, I already forgot about Bento Dude. I remember Wagyu Girl. NEET. Yeah, if you think about it, the registration of her name, Niku, just means meat. Imagine being named Mikan Meat. Meat Mikan. He's around 30. Bento Dude is around 30. So he's older than the other guys because the main characters are just students, right? They're like in their teens. Did Soma ever get into a relationship with the mean girl? Not really mean, but you know, she acts like a princess and she hates Soma's guts. Did they ever get together? Erina is the name of the princess girl? Ew. That's nice.
一枚一
I
枚
was
の解
rooting
説
for
が
them.
長
I
いわね
love them. Her ruler fits me pretty well. God thumb. Oh yeah, yeah. Her special power is that she has God thumb. All the
本当
top
にすごい
food
風
corporations and chefs, etc., come to her for consultations because she has the god thumb. I remember her now.
それじゃああなたは
Russian
忙しいでしょう
cousin?
から私は
Russian
もう行くわね
cousin?
今日も
Let me look that
毎
up.
日楽しく過ごせますように
Russian cousin. Eh? Shokugeki. Shokugeki. Ishiki senpai. Oh, her Russian cousin is Alice. Alice is the one that specializes in like high-tech food, right? Yeah, technologically advanced cooking style. I remember her. She has all these advanced futuristic machines for making food, cooking food. Who is Ishiki senpai? Let me look at it again. Ishiki. Ishiki. Ishiki is the one who's always naked in the dorm. Yeah, she's the one who's always naked. Immerse yourself in an anime you're watching up to the point that you feel like you're one of them, like they're part of your everyday. Who's muted? Who's muted? Did I get muted?
怪しい。明らかにいつもと違う。
Wait, what's happening to our friends? They're just reading. They're just reading. We lost portion of mic earlier. Maybe I just got cut off because I was too close to the mic. Like it got disconnected on you. I'm sorry. What was I saying? Yeah. Alice is Irina's Russian cousin who uses advanced technology for making dishes, and Ishiki is the guy from the dorm at senpai who's always naked. And what did I say after that? Yeah, I remember those days being so happy when I was watching Shokugeki no Soma because they were a part of my everyday. I would always get so hungry when I watched them, and I loved it so much. I felt like I was part of the troop, of the tropa, of the homies. Thought you got flabbergasted because of Ishiki senpai. I might have.
そんなに気に
Yeah,
な
I
るの
remember Ishiki senpai.
わかった
The
わ
dorm.
高さんよ
Our dad visited
本
us
当にあ
at
な
the
たには
dorm,
かなわ
right?
ないわね
ん何を楽
The
しそうに話してるん
alumni
だ
of the dorm, I believe.
それはオンパロス占い全書
ファイノンまで
Bento dude
ごめん
in DM.
二人が近くで追いかけっこをしてたから
Bento,
つい気になって
Bento. That's the Bento dude. Yuya Tomita. How come I don't remember him much? I'm sorry. Maybe if I rewatch it. If I rewatch it. Guys who don't know yet. Or for the new ones. I'm very forgetful. I need to Google stuff a lot just for me to recall them. And the good thing is, if I forget things, I can rewatch them. Clean slate. But thank you for reminding me.
にしても
Bento dude.
ユリオンに占いの趣味があっ
Bento
たと
dude
は
in
な
collaboration with me.
でも
こっそり勉強してみんなを驚かせようと
Did
思ってた
Soma
の
help Bento dude revive his business by using Miku's meat? Miku's meat. It's only because he's a side character.
途中でバレるのが一番恥ずかしいのにもう乙女の心は
I also
エイドの
remember
機嫌よりも
liking
不安
this
定なんだから
he's a tall and dark looking guy who's into fish. Who's into fish. I think we met him in an area where we fish. And he turns beast mode. When he removes his scarf. I forgot. So meets meat, yeah, Niku's meat. Meets meat.
驚かせようとか昔似たようなこと言ってた人がいたな
What are we talking
彼
about?
女 彼女も
Rio.
占いや星
Yeah,
の観
fish
測が好き
dude.
で
Yeah, Misha.
特に
Rio.
カードを使った占いが得意だった。
I remember
ちょうど今
him.
パイノン
It's
に
kind
そ
of
んな友
goofy.
達がい
It
たなん
looks
て
so
ね。
serious, but he can
も
get
しかし
goofy
て
at times.
パイノンも占いに詳しいの？
いや全く。そもそもカードやアストラガロスで運命を占えるなんて、なんせ占いに出てくる吉兆が全部本当だったら僕の故郷エルシオンは消えてないからね。それに僕たちにはトリノン先生がいるだろ。外れたことのない先生の予言と比べたら占いなんて。
Trinon is the culmination of the triplets, not triplets, no, tribi. I don't read this one's even bad sometimes. It should be approached with a critical eye.
占いには心を導く力があると。運命はこの先の未来に影を落としていろいろと見えづらくし、それらを乗り越える勇気を得るために人々は
Should be
占いを
Trinon
必要
and
として
Trian.
るんじゃ
Yeah,
ないかしら。
Trian is the one that they have the same hair. They have the same hair meter as Trian. Trian. You thought about this, haven't you? What if divination predicts something bad?
占いにはいい結果と悪い結果がある。少なくとも
Wait,
悪
Mem
い
is
兆し
into
は注意を
divination
促
now.
してくれるでしょ。
Bad
不思議だな。
omens. Bro, I'm really so
僕の
much
知って
into
る彼女
Final
も
Destination.
似たようなことを言ってい
Omens,
たよ。
prophecies, death.
思い返せば彼女がカードの説明をしてくれるたびに
Alright,
僕はなんと
happy.
なく
No,
不安だったな。
good afternoon. I was gonna say
占いの類なんて
Wait, it's
信
afternoon
じて
for
なかっ
you,
たは
right?
ずなのに、
Or morning? I don't know. Hey,
多
Morai.
分彼女の言い方のせいだ。
What?
キュレ
I
ネ
was gonna say something. Oh yeah,
彼女は
right.
不確かな
I
夢をまるで現実のよう
Because
に生き
you
生きと語
you
り、
mentioned it. It's
子
the
供だ
name.
った
Good
僕
morning
を
then. I'm
その
sorry.
中へ
What
と
was
引
I
き込
gonna
んでいっ
say?
た。
Razor, Wi-Fi. I have changed Wi-Fi's artifacts to pale flame, and I got really lucky with my artifacts. I got him a lot of attack, crit rate, and crit damage. Yee, so it's a lot stronger now. Yippee, yeah, Yippee, I'm very happy. I've been using him to explore and do some, because I ran out of money. I was doing the things where you get money. I've been using him. Strong Yippee, yes. Yippee shall forever be strong. Did you see the characters from Growing Romance? I have not yet. Let me check it out. Cinnamon mini donuts, yummy! I love mini donuts, and it's cinnamon. Wait, I remember you telling me that was one of your favorites before, right? Right? Along with mocha coffee? Growing Romance. Growing Romance. It is over. The manhwa is over. You like mini donuts but not cinnamon. I see. I saw the characters, Misha. One with like orange hair and the girl has orange hair. The guy has brown hair. They look like students. I barely ever eat cinnamon. You don't like cinnamon? Cinnamon I like the cinnamon roll. I like the cinnamon roll. But if it's mini donuts, I like cookies and cream.
そうだ。彼女が昔使ってたカード
Mocha flavor.
まだ1枚持ってるから見てみるかい？
Celphy and Chanwoo. Oh, that's their names. Not that I don't like it, I just don't eat it that often. Understandable. For a lot of people, cinnamon would not be like their number one favorite flavor. It's always a chocolate, vanilla, cookies and cream, strawberry, chocominto, yakimuan nata. Yeah. But cinnamon is good if you think about it. It's good to add to your coffee. It's good as a flavor for donuts and cakes, I think. Pastries. Are those mixed up too fast? Then gotta get a mem specific deck. Mem can handle those cards.
そうだ相棒。ずっと話せないでいたことがあるんだけど、僕たちが初めて運命の三層殿に行った時のことを。 誰だ。
What's this? Are they from the elders? Assassins, save me, nice cosplay, I killed everyone. Save me!
どうやら悪者みたいね。
黒い衣装に金色の粛清者か。
Cleaners? I like their mask though.
私たちのことをご存知とは。失われたオンパロスの歴史について詳しいようで。
Who are they? What's being cleaned?
ご友人は我々に興味をお持ちのようですね。説明してあげてはどうですか、大事なお客様に。
黄金戦争時代、黄金衛に対抗するために黄金の血が流れるものをこの世から抹殺する。
They clean by erasing anyone with golden blood. So they're after the crisis in
暗殺、毒殺、迫害、
poisoning,
どれだけ残虐だろうと。
それらの資料は少し視点が偏っているようですね。先達たちの偉業に
Oh, the several cities formed an underground assassin squad.
にドローン、よければ著者の名前を教えていただけますか。オークヘイマの天真爛漫な子供たちがそのようなものに毒。
お前たちは歴史の陣合とともに去るべきだ。民会は影に隠れた処刑人に投票するような市民など。
それがどうしました。彼らは平和になれ忘れているのです。黄金衛たちが権力を握っていた頃、
たわごとそんなことを言うた。
まさかです。それに我々が皆さん
It's a handful of you. What do you think you're fighting? Who do you think you're fighting? If it's a fight you want, let's get on with it. Enough chit chat. Exactly. Tama ng
落
satsat.
ち着いてくれ。
Let's fighting.
あいつらが影から出てきたということは、さあ言ってみろ。肩も凝ってるし剣先も鈍ってるだろうけど。
I'm so excited for Final. I'm shaking. I was like so amazed when I saw his animation leak. I'm shaking. Because you see, Final wasn't very remarkable at first. My Day stood out because My Day is like war, 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 fight, 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 I'm topless. Final is just like this gentle guy from the village. But if anybody saw his animation leak, it's also like a spoiler to his role on how he's gonna be like super strong and transform into something else. He's gonna transform into like a god, the strongest of the Titans, the Finon, and he has a secret name as well. The theory is that he's Kevin from Honkai, but imagine being Kevin. Oh, it's Hyacinth. This guy, this little guy, they call him Fat Fuck in Twitter, lovingly, affectionately, because he's so cute and fat.
どう？ヒヤンシーちゃん、ここならぴったりでしょ？ちょっと狭いかもだけど、日当たりは完璧。ありがとうございます。トリビー様。
It is Barbara. It's Pastel
金光の
Barbara.
庭は奥兵まで新しく生まれ変わることができそうです。
It's just very Barbara. Just pastel colored. And she has a memo sprite. This is a memo sprite, right? Ika. Little Ika. What animal is this, Misha? What animal is this? I thought it looked like a unicorn, but I was mistaken. Some say it's a sheep.
イカルンもここが好きですか？こんなに明るいんだち、名前も変えてみたらどう？メイ、それもいいかもしれませんね。ですが、観光の庭というの、そっか。あれ、伝説ではなんて伝わってるんだっけ？
So it's not a unicorn, but it still looks like a horse creature with wings. A chubby Pegasus? That's really cute. That's accurate. Yeah, it's a chubby Pegasus. I forgot that a Pegasus is
長い
a
こと復
horse
習
as
してなかったからね、
well.
すぐに思い出すよ。あ、そうだ。 クレムノスとは妖来の騎士セネオスが神官の目を打ったことに、その後天空の民は衰退の一途をたどり、セネオスの血を継いだ一族がなんとなく私たちの記憶と食い違って。そうでした。トリビー様にとっての歴史は辞書に記されているものだけじゃなく、実際に経験されたものも含まれてましたね。
Idea what all this is. It's a long, long story, right? It's a long, long story. Even I don't fully understand it, even though I played all the patches. This is the latest patch. It's a long story. It would be nice if he came back. I mean, for a lot of people, story is not that interesting because it's a gacha. It has massive power creep, but I like this story. I like the story, and I really love that they have really cool husbands. Not gonna lie, that's bundos.
Tana, ding 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 ding. Tana, ding 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 ding.
Hyacinthia, is that her full name? Hyacinthia? It's understandable, Dora, if you're busy with other games. Just story or Genshin Robot. Those are the three main games I play right now. And of course, the gacha one is Yakuza. Hyacinthia, and Axagoras. If I remember correctly, Banner switched to Firefly rerun on Christmas Day, and I used my pulse, and you got her, and you got her weapon as well. And right, if you ever do come back, Firefly is still very much one of the strongest characters, so you won't get left behind. Breaking is still very much viable here, and it's really great that you have her light cones. Unlike in Genshin, in my opinion, light cones are so important to get here. If you are able to afford the signature weapon of your character, that would greatly help in your damage. But I guess you guys already know that. I'm just saying, you should be proud of your Firefly. If you do return, you're still gonna be very strong. Is Ika from Icarus? Is Icarus the guy who flew too close to the sun? I use Firefly skill to an enemy with fire weakness. Firefly skill. Fire weakness. Yes, because Firefly is fire, right? Yeah, that's fire. Fire. My brain. I love the light cone system a lot more than weapons because characters can just have a wild variety of weapons. Exactly right, and no matter what weapon you have, for your character in Star Rail, in game, in the overworld, it's gonna look the same for it's gonna be uniform. Whatever. I don't know if I explained that well, but yeah, even if you have like a 3-star weapon on your character, they're still gonna be holding their weapon. Not the 3-1 Star Rail Barbara. This is the Star Rail Barbara. She's a healer as well, but this Barbara has a fat friend named Little Ika. This is Little Ika and this is smaller Ika.
ケラウドルス様？
ヒアンシー、それからトリビー様も無事で何よりだ。
無事？何かあったの？
市場でまた悪質な事件が起きた。
そんな。アグライア様がいる奥ヘイマは
昔ならな。だが最近は正直に言うが彼女の感覚が前より鈍っているのかもしれない。
Have you seen the fan animation of Arena the night the vision was obtained? I don't think so. Doesn't ring a bell, Misha. I have not watched a lot of Arena fan animations or Genshin fan animations. That's interesting. Did you like it? From a gun to a baseball bat to a cane to whatever. Whatever Himiko uses. Exactly. Oh yeah, we were talking about Himiko. You also have a strong Himiko and you have a strong general. Yeah, I remember that. Himiko, whatever that is. She summoned something from space, pure bliss. Watch it and it's amazing. Misha, sorry for demanding so much. Can you DM the link to me? Not here, but on DM so I can watch it later. So I can watch it later.
今回の騒動もおそらくだが、禁止の緩みを感知した者が
臨界が終わったばかりだ。
黄金栄は一票の差でギリギリ勝っているからな。
大変です。クレメンタイン、大丈夫ですから。皆さん、雲石の天狗が大変なことになってます。
大変なこととは？
アグライア様です。大変なのはアグライア様です。
Oh no, Aguila. No. Wow, black screen. Who died? Nobody died, but Aglaya is in trouble. Aglaya is in trouble. I was busy. It's fine, Misha. It's fine. What was I gonna say? Yeah, Aglaya is in trouble. And yeah, there, Marmoreal Palace. Because a lot of people still seem to hate the Crisis Heirs, even though they won against the Council of Elders last batch. Yeah. And what's her name? Tribi was very surprised to learn about this because she always thought Aglaya was like, you know, an authority figure, that she wouldn't get into trouble. But it's been implied that since so many people are against her and her causes, she might get into trouble.
確か天狗を俯瞰できるこのバルネアは元老院が900年前に建てたものでしたね。初の火を追う旅を記念するためとオンパロスのために偉大なる犠牲を払った1000年前の英雄たちを偲ぶために。そしてその頃から規則が定められ、金織が招待した客人以外誰一人として出入りができなくなった。しかし今のあなた方はもはやその規則に従う素振りすら見せるつもりがない。
Why are you still here? We won against you. Anaxa won against you.
アグライア、神を語り人を惑わし。
Is this Asia server? Yes, it's Asia server. Why?
どうやら私たちはお前に優しくしすぎ。
優しい。
Does Kainis,
そんな曖昧な言葉で作られているつもりですか。
He's really brave for
その無能さを
confronting a demigod.
穴草殺
You're
し
an
に
NA.
あなたたちは多大な恥をかかされました。
Do you have friends in NA? That's
も
why
し
you're
少しでも
in
羞恥
NA.
心があり、最後の尊厳を守りたいというのであれば、陰徳の時に黎明の崖から飛び降りることを勧めます。
I don't know. You just wanna be in NA. That's fine.
池の水を
I
見
used to have
鏡と
an
し
account in Europe and NA as
そう
well, I
醜
think.
い顔をよく
Also,
見
my
て
main
みな
account
さ
is in
い。
Taiwan. There's really not much of a
今のお
difference
前は目だけ
wherever
で
you
な
are.
く
I guess
耳も聞こえていな
if
い。
you're not in an Asia account, you
粛清
see
者
that
は
you get
この
the
時のた
banner
めに
kind
生
of
まれたの
later,
だ。
right?
あらゆる秩序や規則、
Some
法がお前
servers
た
get
ち
the
を制
banners
約できなく
earlier
なった
because of
今、
time zone.
ナイフのみが審判を下すことができる。
You're behind the cleaners.
手段を厭わぬほど追い詰められているのであれば、どうぞ試し。
半身相手に真正面から挑むと
I mean, I already have Firefly
私
and
た
the
ちは
Red
そこまで
Why?
愚かではな
Yeah,
い。
you don't have to. You don't have to.
ナイフ
There
はお
isn't really
前
a
の
lot of
首元
multiplayer
では
things
な
you can do in Star Rail, so it can be wherever you want. I ain't leaving like Clara. Oh, you're Clara. You're
あなたが私に向けた最大の非難は人間
And
性
you're
につき
Misha,
人
exactly.
々への関心が偽りだと告げたことです。
I don't think I've noticed Misha getting earlier on. And
も
after
し
all the
本
work
当にそう考
you've
えて
done
いるので
for
あ
your
れば
original account, there
何
really
を
is no
根拠に
point. There really is no
民たちの
point.
命で私が動じると思うのですか？
Unless you're making content.
いいだろう。半身であるお前
Or
の
unless
素
you,
顔を
you
暴
really
く
want
た
to
めに
flex,
も
but there's no point in
もう
flexing. You could
少
just
し話し
screenshot
てお
your
くと
characters
しよう。
and show them to your friends.
さっきも言ったが
Because there really
今
isn't
の
a
お前
lot
は
of co-op
目だけでな
stuff.
く耳も聞こえていな
My
い。
E3 Misha.
我々が仕掛けた窃盗が見えず第一重工房で交わされていた
Your
密
name
談も
used to
聞
be
こえ
as
ず
as Misha before.
目の前で企てられていたはずの陰謀に対しお前はまるで無関心だった。人間性の喪失といったな。アグライアよ、お前の誇りにしている禁止で
Why are you such a hater?
まさか自分の心が冷え切っていないことを悔やむ日が来るとは。あなた
ようやく思考が読めたのか本当に鈍くなったな。
このアストラガロスのお守りあげる。お姉さんが前に
声と音を失ったあの少女がうっかり目まで。その痛みをお前は誰よりも知っているだろう。想像してみるといい。1000年前若くして視力を失ったお前が音と声まで失っていたらなんと不完全で哀れな眼差しだ。お前の手腕には期待して、この手が効かない時に備え数十通りの素晴ら。
正直もう少し時間を稼げると思っていました。1000年という歳月の中、私は塔柱のタイタンの死を見届けてきました。わがままで無知だったあの頃から。どうやら手を離す時が来たようですね。幸い十分に持ちこたえることができました。今でなら私が去ることで皆が登るための階段となれるでしょう。
Are you ascending?
私は十分にやり遂げたでしょうか。もしこのまま予言に身を委ねまばゆい黄金旅立つ風たちは私のために足を止めてくれるでしょうか。
Nothing like a cold coke on a very hot day. Uy, may coke ka. Enjoy your coke. It is very hot. It's always hot. It barely rains where I am. Cyber's POV. A millennium ago at Marmorea Market. Is it the backstory of
裁
that
縫
girl?
な
It
約束通り
is!
来てあげたよ。見てこの箱いっぱいの金銀財宝。これなら絶対あんたが知らないものも入ってるんじゃない？それじゃあ約束通りここで一番高い服を売って
泥棒のお嬢さん、そんなボロボロの服で私の工房に入ってくるなんて。
It's
礼
Cyber
儀は
as
と
a
もかく
kid.
度胸では持ってきたものを見せていただけますか？
And she wants to buy
好きなだけ見る
garments
といい
from
よ。
Aglea.
とびっきりの上物ばかりだからね。ほらこのサピロスなんてファジェイナの人。
これはなんと見事な輝きでしょう。この品質の海の涙は。
なんだ見たことあるの？
びっくりすると思ったのに。つまんない。
遠い昔のことですよ。家の財産はすべて炎に飲まれましたし、この工房も一から。
影を立て直すお嬢様か。いいね。すっごい憧れる。でも少しは裕福な暮らしをしてたんでしょ？
Yes, it's Cypher.
礼儀知らずな野良猫さんですね。ではお聞きしますが、セファリア、あなたの方はどこで、そしてどうやってこれらを手に入れたのですか？
正々堂々賭けをして勝ち取りました。何か言ってよ、裁縫女。それでどうするの？
おかしいですね。禁止が一切震えませんでした。
だから嘘なんてついてないって。
本当にそうでしょうか？あなたの方に
ただの取引なのにいちいちうるさいな。安心してよ。バレるようなヘマはしてないし、受け取ったって迷惑なんて。
息をするように嘘をつくあなたの。
ほんと金持ちとの取引ってのは面倒だね。
待ってください。そちらは全て受け取ります。ですがこれだけでは金織の一番高い衣装には届きません。なので今からあなたに最適なものをお持ちしましょう。
何どんな服？
こちらです。どうぞ近くでご覧ください。
これはまたピッカピカで綺麗。
Is it stunning? Yeah, without the text. Without the text. Wait, why am I on Netflix? I don't wanna be on Netflix. Where's Discord? There you go, without the text.
「この金のボテスは金織の至宝の一つです。最高額のものには及びませんが、不思議な力が宿っています。
In the sexiest of outfits and the tallest of heels. Wait, she's a child! But yeah, in Genshin, even the kids have heels. Golden boots.
言い伝えによれば、このボテスはザグレウスの祝福を授かっており、ぜひ履いてみてください。そして次から。
金持ちはおせっかいも好きなんだね。じゃ遠慮なく。
どうかしたのですか？
一つ下のサイズって。
では、もう少し大きくなってから履くようにしてください。
If she wants to, but I think that's why they're keeping her at the Favonia's headquarters, so she didn't destroy Mondstadt accidentally. She's a good girl though, always listening to Jean and Albedo.
話の途中にいきなり何？偽物って何のこと？ボーテスだよ、ボーテス。それにザグレウスの人力なのよ。
Be terrified, but Alice would be proud. Exactly. Like mom, like daughter. Chaotic.
オンパラスで一番嘘がうまい女のくせに。
それ以上言ったらステュクスに投げ込んで魚たちの餌にし。それより裁縫女とどうやって知り合ったのか気になってたの。
思ったより地味で期待外れだ。でも姉もアグライアがわざと騙そうとした。
今あいつをかばったの？
いやいや、そうじゃない。そこそこ泣ける話だったから嘘が混じってたら。
あんたにそのよく回る口がなかったらとっくに捕まって門番にされてただろうね。さて 無駄話はこの辺にして、スティコシアをしっかり拝んでおこっかな。やっぱり綺麗な場所だね。くん。
That thing on Bartholo's middle looks like Remy's penguin. Ah, then it's gone. Let's see.
ここの空気にお宝の匂いがプンプン。
The smell
素
of
晴らしい。
treasure.
実に素晴らしい。キャストリスとグレッチのおかげでここの結界が破られたんだよね。ほんとあの時手伝ってあげてよ。それじゃ宝探しの時間だよ。バトッチ案内して。いいものを見つけたらあんたにも2割分けて。
せめて3割にしてくれても。
Oh yeah, it does look like Femine's penguin thingy. It kinda does. Yeah, it kinda does. This one, this part.
あ、今の聞こえた？ステュクスの骨食い魚のやつ、相当腹を空かせてるみたいだね。それよりここってなんでこんな水まみれなの？ジメジメしてるし。
技術の半身なのに。
本当に分かってないね、あんたは。ドロス人はちょっと泳ぐのが苦手なだけで、他はいろんなことが得意なの。なんならここで競争してあげようか。
そう怒るなよ。
猫ちゃんは水が一番嫌い。それより
よし、あれを使おう。あれが
まあとりあえず乗ってみるか。しばらくは遊んであげるよ、バトルズ。
そういえば姉のオイラがいない時、どうやって宝を探してたんだ？
カマをかけよったって、そうはいか。
Can we equip Cat Girl? Cat Girl's a healer, right? No. Yes, we can. Sorry, how? Let's replace you with Cat Girl.
アナ先生なよ。
警戒心が強いことで。
Yeah, Haki, see, it's your cat girl. I got your cat girl as a trial, but yeah, that's what she does when you attack. Technique. Ooh, the way she stretches is so cute.
金貨パクパクスタート。
What does this do? What does this do? It looks like a magnet. Are we scanning for treasure? Because she likes treasure. Her booty is immaculate. Is it because she has a tail?
一問なしだ。縁起悪い。
Oh.
なら自分で取ってこなきゃね。
That was nice. That was cool. One of her idols is just disappearing and stealing some treasure. Can we see her stuff, her details? Oh, we can't view her details. Meow. Meow. Her booty shot when she attacks? It makes us faster. She's so fast.
面白い、実に面白い。
この装置、オロニクス司祭が作った。
随分と甘く見られたもんだ。できたぜ。これで尻尾が濡れるし。
やるじゃん。でも言っとくけど。
心配しなさんな。2割の頭皮。
Time to play a little agent. Go ahead, go ahead. You can lurk if you want. It's almost yeah, it's almost dinner time anyway. Go play Aegis or Build your harmony, MC. Build your harmony, Trailblazer. I love my harmony, Trailblazer. I switch between harmony and remembrance all the time.
いつこんな技が使えるようになったの？もう渡れたから、そのでっかいライトを閉じたら眩しいし。
向こうの装置を使えば閉じれるはずだ。
I ain't giving up on making my Misha an absolute beast for DPS. Go do it. Farm for relics that will make your Misha insanely strong. What happened to my Misha, by the way? How did I build my Misha? At the point where I got Misha, Misha wasn't strong because of course he's been power crept, but you can maintain his strength by updating his artifact ability. Aww, look. Traces, almost perfect. I don't see the point of upgrading his defense. Should I? Relics. I just got this from a guide. He has on a 4-piece of the ice damage boost, or the speed and ice damage boost. Imagine one-shotting Sunday using his ult. No. My Misha is C6, Misha. You're so loud. You're C6. Daddy? Hello, Daddy. Happy time zone. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. We're doing some HSR. This is the latest updates, made.
グレッチとピンクのリスのおかげでこんな古い都市国家のお宝を全部頂戴できそうだよ。
How do I? Huh? No, there is no path going there. Huh? Hyacinth heals. If you haven't used, I think I saw the WAJ one. The one that starts with W. The Hyacinth heals. I have not. Thank you. Hyacinth heals. Wait, how do I get there? How do I get there? Oh no, I can't stop. Hyacinth Misha? No, sorry, you have the same color. Sorry, Daddy. Thank you. Hyacinth heals. I have not yet. The W1 I saw on Twitter a while ago. That's like 60 gems, right? How do I get there? Daddy, are you excited for Saber? I don't know if you've seen it, but there's speaks on Twitter already. Offer animation. I can't go through here. I had to drop it. Yeah, but I might have to skip Cypher and wait for the RR. What is RR? Skipping Cypher? She's gonna be a healer as well, right? She's gonna be an agility healer, that's what I heard. Chain, hello, hi. Wait, what's RR? Oh, rerun. Oh, Cypher. You still want Cypher, but you're gonna have to skip her. I know a lot of people are saving their gems for Saber and Saber copies of Saber, Eidolons of Saber. They're so hyped. I'm just happy we're getting a free archer because I'm saving all my gems for Finon.
ここだ。
Hey, hi, Chin. Hope you're doing well. Do you have school today or not?
何ぼーっとしてんの？早くほっ。あっ。
大きい宝箱。大量だ。さすがはファジーナ信者の縄張り。海の涙でできた装飾品が一箱も。はい、これあげる。つけてみて。
I didn't notice those bangs before.
ありがたくいただくぜ、なんと透き通ったアメテストス。オイラの肌色にぴったり。
My skin tone.
さすがはソフェルの姉も。おききき、早速つけてみようって。長い付き合いだってのにまだこんな手に引っかかるの？
I don't think I would want a friend like Cypher, as cute and amazing as she is, because I'm so gullible. I would fall for every trick that Cypher does.
誰もが信じる嘘は真実になる。ほんと便利な能力だな。
I'm late on your stream because I just got home from school. I got home late because I let my teacher check my coding. That's fine, Jane. I appreciate seeing you here, even if you think it's late. Don't worry about it. School comes first. Oh yeah, you're doing coding. How was the coding? Did your teacher teach you how to improve it, or did she approve of it? Did you get a good score from your coding thing? People who know how to code are so smart. I could never. I was interested in it like a long time
禁止とか
ago.
瞬間移動できる扉とかよりずっと
Apparently
実用
they
的で
have
しょ。
courses for kids now on how to learn coding. I thought it would be the future. It is the future. The future is now, but I'm not smart enough to learn how to code.
ほら、本物だよ。この後の道案内もよろしくね。あいよ、姉子。次の宝を見つけた。なあ、姉子。今回は間違いなく OK だけど、姉子は何に使うつもりなんだ？それはもちろん使わ
Never
ないよ。
mind. On
私に関する
HSR,
あの愚かな予言を忘れたの？
Code, hello, Code. Hi. Much bubblehead. Yes, I am bubblehead. Hello, Code. I saw you were streaming earlier. How was your stream? That was so cute. Let's go.
何それ？もしかして歌なの？
What are you singing? You're so out of tune.
へえ。こん
Do we
な
have
デ
to
カ
fight
ブツがいる
this?
とはね。
Do I have a? This team is fine, right?
でっかくて頭も悪そうだな。
Events are page. What event? What event? Damn, I'm very late to the stream. Tejas, hello! Welcome. Good day. Good day, we're just doing some Star Rail. The new update came out yesterday and we are doing the main story.
一文なしだ。縁起悪い。
She said I need to add a new feature that Excel can. I was shocked by Cypher's disappearing act. I need to add a new feature that Excel can use because my coding is look like Excel, but my coding is for financial tracking. Financial tracking. I'm allergic to numbers, bruh. I wonder what. Also saw the Finon leaks is gonna be bigger than Casteris. What do you mean bigger than Casteris? Is his animation? Do you think it's gonna be stronger than Casteris? The hype is real though, cause he's supposedly, we don't see it right now, but he's supposedly gonna become the strongest demigod or titan, right, Tejas? The bigger menace. Probably. It was really great. My first reaction was like, I was speechless. Like, hot damn. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect Starrel to go all out on Finon, because Finon is not that intimidating when you first meet him. my day is more intimidating, but who would have thought he would transform into that during his fighting form? I will lurk and play repo before I add a new feature to my coding. Okay, Jane, thank you so much for being here after school. Thank you for the lurk. Enjoy your repo. And congratulations on good job on your on your coding thing. And I hope it's not as stressful when you revise it later after you play repo. I'm just gonna wait for the arts to know the latest tutorial characters. Mikan, why do you mean by arts? And why is it in quotation mark? Do you mean fanfiction? You mean wait, fanfiction, I mean fan art? Pages, my whole focus has been snatched by this cute demi bubble. You mean me, right? You mean me. You mean me. I'm the cute bubble head. Wait, why is it not bubbling when I want it to bubble? Come on. Come on, bubble. Bubble, is it dark? Come on. Or is it because my mic is blocking me? Yep, yes, I am the cute bobblehead. Mambo jumbo. Mambo jumbo. Yeah, why not? That's all it is. My model. This is a 360 view of my model. I have an adorable tail. I have my pink underwear. I'm very happy with it. Lucy made it. Is Twitch gonna ban me if I stream like this? You won't see my face though. You won't see my face. There you go. I wanna pull the tail. Go pull the tail. Wait, where is it? Where is it? Let's just pretend I'm lying down. I will not gonna get stressed in second year coding because third and fourth year is more stressful. Story be long. Code the story is long. Really? But hopefully not as strong as the first ever one. That one took like a whole day for content creators to cover, I believe. I have seen some spoilers on Twitter though. I tried not to dwell on the spoilers, but I did see some spoilers. That's why I'm so... There's kind of an urgency to finish it. Though maybe she'll go taller. It's gonna go taller. Oh, if you pull the tail, I'm gonna grow taller. No, if you pull the tail, I'm gonna say stuff. You know those old toys, the wind up, no, not wind up, where you pull the string on their back, they say some sort of line like, I love you, something like that. That's what happens if you pull my tail. 5 to 6 hours long, goddamn. Pages, we're still talking about Star Rail, right, Tejas? Yeah, Tejas, I don't know if 5 years is still here. A viewer named 5 years came in here and asked me if I was Indian. I was kind of flattered. I've never been mistaken as an Indian before, but I understand how I can be mistaken as Indian because of my accent. Woody from Toy Story has a string you can pull from behind and he will say something like, I love you, or you're the best, or you can do it, something like that. 5 to 6, I guess we're not finishing today, boys. We'll do whatever we can do in like 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, we're ending stream in 30 minutes because dinner time. He doesn't have a digest because he's an imp.
こんなやつに顔を傷つけられたら、あの構成無視ナタレンタムですら泣いちゃいそうだね。だな、そうと決まれば逃げ。それじゃあ、あんたは正面で頑張ってて。そうそう、盗賊なるもの。
Fight. You're talking about Star Rail story, 5 to 6 hours long. Your English speaking accent is kind of similar to an Indian. Maybe that's why they thought you're an Indian. Yeah, that's good. Would it be bad if I scammed them? What if I told them, yeah, I'm Indian? I get nothing from it though. Maybe I'll get more Indian viewers, huh? Wink wink, just kidding. I ordered a fountain pen on Shopee. Lol, okay, I won. I'm Filipino and proud of it. We are the Mexican Southeast Asia. I am proudly Filipino.
この神業で万物を再構築しましょう。
本質は同じ。いずれ
Why is story
風に吹き落と
always
され
much
る。
louder than this story? So yeah, Five Guys was here early. They thought I was Indian, and we talked a little bit about Yakuza and them wanting to go to Japan because they love the Yakuza game so much. I talked a little bit about anime, which evolved into Food War
外見も
Shokugeki
実
no
力もダメ
Soma.
ダメな相手だったね。ちょっと
I
殴っ
don't
ただ
have
けで
a
倒れる
buffer
なん
in
て
HSR.
つまんない
Is
な。
Bailu a buffer? I think she could be. I think all the healers are buffers and they have specific functions. I think one of them, aside from healing, one of them buffs basic attack. I think another one of them heals. I think Locha. Locha heals and adds debuffs to enemies or something like that. Can't hear you, Celphy. The game is too loud. I'm sorry. I was just saying that most of the healers have buffing abilities as well, but they have different buffing abilities. Like Bailu can revive. Locha can apply debuffs to enemies. I think How can buff ultimate. Is it ultimate or basic attack? One of those. Yeah, they have different functions. Hyacinth can buff and increase your HP. The best buffer is Ranmei. Yeah, Ranmei is not a healer, but she's a pure buffer and she's fantastic. She's fantastic. Every Star Rail creator was hyping her up so much. They were insane for Ranmei, the way that she buffs the whole team. And even up to now in Amphoria, she's still very much viable in your for example, for Anaxa, for casters, Ranmei is still great. You can get her for free. Dishes, is the free Ranmei still in Star Rail? You should get Ranmei, no questions about it, Misha.
おーい、バトルズ
But
生
yeah,
き
you
てる
can beat them up. A
も
lot
し
of
生
the
きてるな
healers
ら
also
蹴っ
buff.
ていっ
They
て
just have different kinds of buff. It's in the exchange shop. Misha, check it out. Misha, check out the shop. You could get a free Locha or Ranmei. I strongly advocate getting in the exchange shop. I mean, in the exchange shop. Misha, go check the exchange shop. You pick Clara? No, there's a different one where you can choose between Locha and Ranmei, I think.
そんなに怯えちゃっておじけづいちゃったもう大丈夫だからはい。かしこまり、
Boss Lady. Aniki. Kyodai.
くんそれっぽい匂いもないし
I might have
いい
used
も
it
のは
when
入
you
ってな
divided
さ
the
そうだ
kids.
ね
Ah.
まあいっかん
Month of Balance Day. What do you call these things? Like in I forgot what it's called. Redacted. They redacted. And later on in the future they will add more characters to the shop. That's awesome. Thank you, Star Rail. Thank you. They've probably seen so many complaints about power creep that they're doing so many things to help players get stronger characters, right? Yaki! Are you still here for the cat girl? Or are you here? Wait. Are you still here for the cat girls? Or are you here for me? Ooh la la. I can't. The other model is sexier. The bikini one is sexier. Let's go back to lying down. Celphy is wearing pink diaper. That's not diaper. Those are shorts. I see the diaper though. I see the diaper. Lamau. Upskirt shot. Yeah. Feast your eyes. Feast your eyes for this free fan service that's gonna last for another 20 minutes. I'm always here for the selfies. Yeah. I'm wholesome. I'm wholesome. I'm wholesome. I'm innocent. I'm not sussy at all. I'm not gonna read all of that.
これはひどいな。
無理だったと思うよ。奥兵までスティコシアの人に会ったことなんてないし、いるって話も聞いてないから。
I thought you guys drink as well. Thank you. Thank you for the hydration.
ドロスはまだ私という生き残りがいるけど、この都市国家はそこまで幸運じゃなかったみたいだね。
Kitty paws, she does have kitty paws.
ほんと不公平な世界。生まれた場所が悪かっただけでこんな目に遭うなんてさ。奥兵の人は世を背負うタイタンのおかげで今も普通に暮らせてるのに。
And it makes sense that her outfit is kind of minimal. I mean, not as extravagant as Aglaea, etc. casters, because she's supposed to be stealthy, because she's a thief and a trickster, and she's supposed to move fast. Chakona is now available in WoW. Let's go, Tejas! Are you pulling, Tejas? Or are you gonna be firm in saving for, what's her name? Cartithia. Cartithia.
といえば、サヘルの姉子は前にケファルの司祭員で見習いをしてたんだろ。
Now not pulling for her, you're saving for Cartithia. Stay strong. Stay strong.
そんな話した？
知ったぞ。オイラははっきり覚えてるぞ。まさか時間が経ちすぎて記憶が曖昧になってきたのか。
Headpads. There you go. Those headpads are from Yaki, by the way. Chakona, yeah, Chakona is there apparently. I wanna touch them toe beans. Toe beans. There you go, Yaki said that. Toe beans!
そういえば言ってたね。けど大した話じゃないでしょ。ブツブツ喋ってる司祭たちに正直あの頃は元老院たちの財布のことしか頭になかったから。
おお、なるほど。司祭の衣装を着てる姉子か。
しなくて結構。それに当時の衣装なんて今とは全然違うんだから。
Misha, you're enjoying the free sub that you get. You got?
そうだよな。
Or
ちょっと気になってさ。その時の姉子が司祭たちから何か聞いてないかなって。
何言ってんだか。次。どこから出てきたのこの障害物。
Yaki, thank you for the hydrate. Or hydrating. That is so cute. She's singing. That's a mic. I didn't notice the mic. What is that purple thing? That's a spirit thief. A spirit thief. I don't know how else to describe him. He steals stuff. He's a little menace like that. A little troublemaker. So like, the cat girl is like a demigod of trickery and lies, right? And that's her trusty sidekick, Bartholos, who is also a trickster and thief. They're both thieves. Is it grape flavor? I think so. I mean, I like grape more than blueberry, so let's hope that he tastes like blueberry. It's a sentience like ube. Sorry, was that loud? I bumped into my mic.
面倒だな。
あちゃちゃ、すんじゃこういう時こそでかくて重くてうるさい。
これがや。
おいらに制御装置なんてもんはいらね
え。Where's the hand of Zagreus though? see it in the map. Oh no! Where's the hand? The hand is here. Where's the controller of the hand? Is it the controller of the hand? No. No. Let's try going close to it anyway. Wait, where? Ah, this is the controller of the hand. Wait. Let me. I'm looking at their butt and tail stones. Sorry, there you go. Butt and tail, very elegant tail, long, white, with a dark end, dark tip. Why can I not access it? Why can I not interact with it? The kitty's design is so cuddly. True. With the fluffy tail. Yeah, I love the tail. I love the tail. Sunday? What do you mean Sunday? Nah, it's Thursday. There's like a sub story towards the end of the Penacony thing, where you meet a little boy named 1 week, and it's supposed to be Sunday in child form. 1 week. How come I can't interact with it? This is supposed to enable me to control the hand. Sorry, let me just figure this out. You said you were gonna control it. Oh, I didn't have to go there. I'm gonna cry in Penacony. Not gonna lie, I might have cried in Penacony a few times. Descend. Wait. We're supposed to punch it out. If you know what I mean, yeah. I kind of know what you mean. There's been a few moments. Oh, well, there's one big moment though. I remember now. There's one big moment that made me cry in Penacony, and I know exactly what you mean. And up to this day, the thing that made this cry is still there in Penacony. In a certain area, you can visit him anytime.
さっき聞かれたことで思い出だから質問してきたでしょ。
こう言っちゃなんだけど、アミゴ、もしかしてそれ
そうかもね。確かに最近ちょっとピリピリしてるか。胸の中で燃える不思議な火種よ。火種。
When it comes to singing, I still sound better than you. Misha! Misha! The story of Misha.
下にとんでもないものが隠されてる予感がするね。
It's a good kind of cry because Misha, story of Misha will always be in our hearts. Yeah, Mikhail.
ほら、もう指示し。これ黄金のスケープゴートじゃん。面白い。
そういえばこのヤギ頭って何かの神話と関係があったような。
Those who feel fire became sheep. Those who did not became women.
ヤギとか人とかどっちでもいいよ。
Capricorn,
とにかくこれを解けばお宝が手に入るんでしょ。ほら、大事な仕事だから頑張って。
この程度の謎解きならお安いご用だ。おいらにお任せあれ。
From the zodiac, Capricorn from the zodiac. It does look like it. The goat. Do I have to solve this? Do I have to solve this? I don't want to. No. Oh, it was pretty easy. It was pretty easy. Thank you.
Stop. ストップ。動かないで。振り向くのもダメ。
When it comes to puzzle, I usually just go with the flow and learn while playing. I can never, no matter how many times I do it, there are times when I'm really stumped with it. Especially, the Wuwa color puzzles. Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're hard. One time I thought I got the hang of it and got the strategy, but I forgot. Reading the tutorial is just boring. Exactly. And there's some sort of fulfillment when you solved a puzzle by yourself, right?
だから動くなって。黙って。余計なこと言わないで。
Yaki, thank you for headbat.
全部あの裁縫女に聞かれてるから。
姉子、それってつまり。
あんたは引っ込んでて。静かにね。やあ、裁縫女。随分と卑劣な手を使うんだね。私のとこに仕込んだ耳に気づかないとでも。
時が経つにつれ、私もどんどん運というものに頼るようになってきた。この小さなエンドモの力だけではあなたの鋭い目を欺くことはできませんでしたか、セファリ
ア。バトルズを完璧に操ってたとしても、あんたの偽装くらいは見破れるよ、アグライア。ねえ、こんなに手間暇かけて私のことを監視して一体何がしたいわけ？言ったよね。私がいなくてもこの前だってキャストリスとグレッチを特別に助けてあげたでしょ。これ以上要求するのはちょっとずうずうしくない？
ごめんなさい、セファリア。何もかも計算し尽くしてきたつもりですが、あなたとの関係がここまで。一体どこで何を間違えたのか。数百年もの間それを試作し、自制を重ねてきました。でもあなたと直接話し合う機会は一度も訪れなかった。
the one that Ito likes fighting with in Inazuma, the guys from Inazuma do Kabuto battles.
ねえ、それやめてよ。そういう話し方されるの苦手だって知ってるでしょ。
ビート。
1000年前、無知だった私は沈黙したがために最も美しい波の音を失ってしまいました。
セイレンス。
A new character. No, not a new character, but they're mentioning someone else. High Silence.
ですから、たとえ無駄だとしても、今回はあなたに伝えなければなりません。私にはあなたが必要です。黄金栄の使命には、長らく先延ばしにされてきた私の終幕が、ついに訪れようとしています。あなたが私に対して どれほどのわだかまりを抱えていようとお願いします。奥平間に帰ってきてください。あなたがいなければ彼らだけでは抗争に勝利することはできないでしょう。
Why are you playing Yaki?
分かった。考えとくよ、裁縫女。ただし
安心してください。もう一度あなたの声を聞き、その顔を見てみたいと願ってやまないですが、もうその機会はないでしょう。
Why are you saying something like that, Aglaia?
セファリア。
That was Aglaia, right? What was Aglaia? Because your feet are so close. No. That tickles. I will kick you. Kick. What next?
残念だ。ヤギ頭の下にいいお宝が埋まってる。
That was just Aglaia spying on us.
結局宝箱の中身もともとはすごく高価なものだったのに。
姉子が好き。でも今は干渉に浸ってる場合じゃないぞ。先っぽ
今度サフェルに会ったら伝えてください。ハンス
思い出した？教える手間が省けてよかった。
Yeah, she was there
あん
all
たは
this
不意をつかれ好ましい。
spying,
見た目以上に結構やばく
waiting.
て
I want an event or
裁
class
縫
where we
女の
return
禁
to
止くらい厄
Bellabog.
介なんだよね。
Yes.
ちょっと
Some
気を抜いただけで
people,
体を乗っ取られ
especially the
て
early
あや
players
つ
of
人形みたいになっちゃってさ。
their hearts are in
で
Bellabog.
い
It
つ
was
もな
like
ら
one
絶
of
対
the
に言わ
best
ないようなことを言ったりするんだ。
best stories, regions. In my opinion, I liked Bellabog more than the Chinese area. I don't want to sound racist, but the story is just so touching for the people of Bellabog. They were the ones who were left underground fighting Bronya, above ground, and Bronya's battle against her mom, her beloved mom. Man, I love Bellabog. I would consider myself attached to Bellabog as much as I'm attached to Leeway of Genshin. They have a special place in my heart. Being back to its former glory from the 700-year Ice Age. Yeah, Bellabog is the Mondstadt of ages. Oh yeah, sorry. Mondstadt. My Leeway is Penagoni. I don't understand what happened in Shanzhou, to be honest. It's so confusing.
そんなのまるで暗黒の塩から生まれた洗脳お化けみ。それじゃあサフェルの姉子はどうや。
早々にボロを出してたよ。
そうだ。世を背負うタイタンといえばサフェルの姉子は
Also, it was Aglaia inside Barkelos whenever he was trying to pry into March.
私たち
March?
なんだかんだ1000年くらいの付き合いにな
Wake
るで
up
しょ。
soon. I do hope
だ
March
から
wakes up soon.
話せることは大抵話しちゃってるけど、
My
黎明
really
の崖で
far
のこ
off
とは別。
theory used to be that Mem is March, but seems like I'm wrong. It seems like I'm wrong. March is still March, and Mem, it could be somebody else. I hope she wakes up soon. I hope we get 5-star March or another pack of March. I kind of miss her, the way she's so cheerful, and you know, when we take her to our adventures, she's like, you know, a scene stealer sometimes.
あのことだけは絶対に誰にも言ったりしないから。
でも姉子
March would have loved Ampharis. Yeah. I think she would have enjoyed it at first when people were worshipping her, and then it would get really weird. Yeah, March would have loved Ampharis. So many sights to see, so many amazing things, so many fascinating things that she could learn about, visit, take pictures of.
私の勝手なイメージだけど、人に真実を吐かせる禁止なんて技術の化身が何でしょ。ザグレウス。
恐ろしいほどに鋭いな。
This is Zagreus? Huh? 5-star March. It's gonna be March 8th. Well, who knows? I don't think I've seen any leaks, just theories of why March is asleep. But I don't think anything has been confirmed yet.
だってあんたが生きてることを知ってるのは私だけだし。
Like Herta is gonna be the March 7th.
全世界を騙してあげたこと。
I don't know what that means, but I believe you're talking about this girl, Yaki. You can sniff oil, right? Sniff it. So Zagreus, we've been tricked twice. I mean her, the cat girl who's supposed to be tricking everyone, has almost been tricked twice. First by the possession of Aglea, and now it's revealed that Bartholos is actually Zagreus. Who's Zagreus? I know he's an important... Oh, he's a titan! The titan of trickery! I wanna sniff a cipher. You can sniff the cipher. Sniffa, the cipher. So many F's.
もしバレたくないなら今後もちゃんと頑張ってよね。
この安い命がかかってなくてもサフェルの姉子のためなら火の中でも水の中でも飛び込む覚悟さ。
こんな姿になって何もかも退化したのに。
それはそうと姉子、オイラたちの今の生活めちゃくちゃ自
由。正直一度戻ってみてもいいと思って。
また来たのですね。セファリア、顔が。
服がいるの。何でもいいからちょうだい。なんなら布でも構わないから。お金はいつかちゃんと返す。約束する。
あなた、黄金の血が流れていたのですね。
What's her English voice sound like? The cat girl? We can search it up on YouTube. Wait, where's Opera? YouTube? YouTube. Excuse me? I am her English voice, not just kidding. Star Rail. Cipher. English. Cipher told the... Oh. Cipher English Battle Voice Lines. Introduction. This... Yes. Bye-bye. She sounded cool. Why Caster is left there? There you go, Yaki. There you go for people who are curious how she sounds like in English. Wait, no. Oh, it auto-played, sorry. It auto-played. I love her laugh. Yeah, there you go. Cipher in English. Casters was like, oh yeah. Oh wait, the game. There you go.
私はあいつらが言ういわゆる黄金衛ってやつ。力強い英雄、名高い剣士、そして知恵に満ちた大学者だらけのあれってこと。
セファリ
ア。でも残念だったね。あんなすごい連中の中に私みたいなのが混ざっててさ。貧乏で泥棒で嘘つきな私なんかがさ。いっそのこともう一個傷でも作ってこの金色の全部流し切っちゃえばいいんだ。
She doesn't like that she has golden blood.
もうやめてください。 服は用意しますから、それからここに残ってください。
なんで怪我したのか聞かないんだ。そうだよね。聞いたってどうしようもないし、私あんたの禁止さえ騙せるくらい嘘がうまいんだもん。どうせ嘘が本当かなんてわかんないでしょ。
You're going to jail. Oh, because you're planning to kidnap her? Understandable. Understandable.
いいえ、あなたを問いただしたり禁止で測ったりする必要なんてありません。
Were they ostracized because
あ
they
な
had
たがした
golden
ことは
blood?
すべて生きのここに残ってくださ
Are
い。
they bullied?
そうすれば
Mish.
もう飢えや寒さに苦しむことはありません。
I don't know how Twitch approved
私の
that
そばにいれ
emote.
ば
But
壊
here
れてしまった自尊
we are.
心を縫い直す方法も学べるでしょう。
Wait, I'm gonna. There you go. I'm normal again.
私のせいで悪いように言われるのが怖くないの？
怖がっていたらこんな提案はしません。
裁縫女、あんたって本当に変わってるよね。
It's okay.
大人たちがさ、
Kelly got some nice ones. Yeah, you got
嘘
lucky
ばっ
with
か
that
つく
free
子は
gift though.
まともになれないぞって。
Maybe check them out when they're done sleeping. When they're done sleeping, yeah, that one's epic as well. Shake that booty, shake
私
that
だって
booty.
そうならないように頑張ってみたさ。なのにあんたはなんでがっかりさせられないって思えるの？
それは半身の力ではなく鼓動するこの心臓で感じるからです。だから頻繁にここを通るのでしょう。それなのに自分モネータの真剣を引き継いでから真実と偽りを禁止に見分けてもらうことに、セファリア、あなたは私が世界に捧げる真心であり、そばにいてください。その美しい顔には傷も泥も似合いませんよ。
Is it also from Kelly? Yeah, the barking one.
あんたの話じゃあ約束だから。猶予は1日だけ。
Agleia adopted baby Cypher. Is that it? That's why they're so close. That's why Catgirl is so special to Agleia. I didn't know they were close like that. Thank you for the backstory.
Anna, ding 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 ding. It's Anna, ding 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 ding. It's Anna, ding 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 ding.
Wow, it's taking forever to load, but we are ending stream. We're ending stream. Is there someone we can raid? Twitch. Twitch.tv. Twitch. Time 2. Wait, homicide? Who are you homiciding, Misha? Who can we raid? Red Shadow Legend. Celestial Lexi, Iron Mouse. Mocha? We've already raided Mocha before. I guess we're not raiding because I'm kinda hungry again. Sorry. No, don't leave us. But my friends, I have to. My dinner awaits now. My dinner's not ready yet, but when I go down, my mom's gonna start making dinner. What, Raid Shadow Legends? No, we're not doing Raid Shadow Legends. But yeah. Wait! Opera, stop! What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. This is the end of the stream. Unfortunately, guys, my dinner is adobong Adidas. Really? Just Adidas? Are you gonna get a lot of meat from that? But adobo sounds so yummy though.
Ding 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 ding. It's Anna, ding 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 ding.
Have a good din weekend to my fellow Filipinos or those who are close to my time zone. I hope you guys are having dinner as well. Or if you had dinner, I hope your dinner was pog. Sinigang Nike. Sinigang Nike. Mine is calderetang North Face, huh? Also gonna say, yeah, thank you so much everyone for being here. Although I didn't stream yesterday and a lot of days before that due to some technical stuff. But I'll try to be back again tomorrow or on Sunday to stream again. Curry Converse. What else? What else? Pinaupong Gucci. What? Why did we take a leap from from Converse to Gucci? But yeah, I'll be back with Yakuza. I'll be back with, if we stream tomorrow, it's gonna be Yakuza. On Sunday, it's gonna be, I haven't decided yet for those who saw my stream schedule. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for being here. I really appreciate you. The raids, the lurks, the chats, the follows. Appreciate you all. Misha, Yaki, Mika, and everyone, thank you. Tesha, it's 5 guys. I'm sorry if I forgot. I appreciate you guys. I always have you in my heart. Have a good one. Jesse! Hello! Hi, have a good one. Thank you. You too. Yes. When I go down, it's gonna be dinner time. What else was I gonna say? Time to binge Genshin tonight. Yes, binge Genshin. I'm probably gonna do Ice Coffee, Escoffier's character story soon. Bye bye everyone. I love you all so much. I appreciate having you here, and take care of yourselves. Okay, I'll see you guys around or on next stream. Thank you. I'll see you all again. Bye bye. Chorizo!